WFLA Now will begin momentarily. Streaming live on WFLA Now, powered by 1-800-ASK-GARY. Here's J.B. Petito.
2 days after the funeral for their daughter, we're moments away from hearing from Gabby Petito's family. For the first time since the FBI confirmed Gabby Petito died of homicide. Meanwhile, the sole person of interest in the FBI-led criminal investigation, Brian Laundrie, continues to remain missing. Hey there, folks. J.B. Petito here with you live on WFLA Now. We have a panel here, a stream team, if you will. Here we have below me here on the bottom right-hand portion of your screen, 8 on your side, investigator Masa Saidi here with us at WFLA in Tampa. Great to have Masa here back on the stream, a former prosecutor in New York City. We're going to be talking a lot about New York as we head to the press conference here momentarily. In the top left-hand portion of your screen, we have 8 on your sides, Allison Henning live for us at the Laundrie family home here in Northport, Florida. And of course, in the bottom left, we have 8 on your sides, Justin Checker of WFLA News Channel 8, who's been on this story from day one. We're going to start here with Allison in just a moment. First and foremost, we're going to show you a live feed. Someone's blocking the camera right now. Welcome to, live feeds here as far as digital. But behind this person is a podium that has been set up for the Gabby Petito to speak here in New York at 1 o'clock Eastern time. The time, there it is, the person ducking here, and you can see that makeshift podium here. The time now is 12:51 Eastern. So we're going to spend the next several minutes here, but we want to get with you live on stream here, folks, a little bit early so that you have the right here to hear the very first moments of this press conference here, as Gabby Petito's family is going to be speaking here at 1 o'clock Eastern time. As we are live here with, of course, all of our team here, our stream team, you can use any of the hashtags here on your screen. Before and after the press conference, we're going to be looking for your hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyMasa, hashtag HeyJustin, and hashtag Hey Allison, questions and comments here in the Facebook Live, YouTube Live, on Twitter, all across social media here, and we will be able to feature some of your questions and comments. I know a lot of people are asking about what's going on in Pinellas County, what's going on with Dog the Bounty Hunter. All of those conversations are to be had here on WFLA Now. So we'll look for your hashtags beginning now. But I want to start here in Northport, Florida. The Laundrie parents have left their home and have returned, and for that we sent things over to WFLA's Allison Henning, who's live there outside of the Laundrie home. Hey there, Allison. What exactly happened this morning?
Hey, JB. So, anytime there's any activity out here at the home, I think everyone kind of is paying very close attention to exactly what's happening out here. So what happened this morning, it was just before 9 o'clock, maybe 8:40-ish. The Laundrie parents did leave the home. They got into this red pickup truck here. They left. They did not say anything. They did not address the media in any way, shape, or form. About 10:10, so about just over an hour later, they did return home. And at that point, there were some protesters out here with their bullhorns hollering at them, saying all sorts of different things. And still no response, still no, addressing us, addressing the protesters out here. I did notice Mr. Laundrie, he did at one point, kind of just shake his head back and forth, kind of in response to the protesters, but nothing came out of their mouths. So it was very brief, in and out. That's pretty much all that happened here this morning. Obviously, at this point in time, everyone is still waiting for this family to make some sort of a public statement. But at this point, all we're getting here is more silence.
Allison, can you speak to just how much the media here and perhaps, of course, police following the every move here of Chris and Roberta Laundrie here, anytime that they come outside of their home, we're talking about it here. So can you speak to just how much every move here is under the microscope as far as the Laundrie parents here?
Yeah, definitely I would say the media. There's media here from all over the region, even all over the country. And it has been the case here at the home as well as at the Carlton Reserve, where that search had been happening all throughout last week. I will say today, this morning, there really was no police activity out here. I'm seeing Northport PD just pulling up here right now, but I'm pretty sure the officer is here to ask media vehicles to move off of the roadway. So nothing having to do with this household in particular. But we know last week when we did see the Laundrie family leave the home, going to their meet with their attorney in Orlando, we did know that there was a unmarked vehicle that was kind of with them. That was not the case today. They kind of left and came back on their own.
Allison, can you speak to a lot of social media activity, people asking about the flowers that were delivered yesterday? There was a little micro sort of movement on the internet of people trying to deliver flowers to the Laundrie home there in Northport. And the idea was if we send enough flowers to the Laundrie home, before you know it, outside of that home, there will be sort of a makeshift memorial for Gabby Petito. Of course, we saw the video from News Nation's Brian Enton that they were talking about if the flowers aren't directed to City Hall where their memorial is, then what's going to happen is they're going to maybe throw those flowers in the trash. Any more deliveries or drop-offs pertaining to flowers or otherwise that you can note here before we let you go?
Yeah, there have been actually this morning. I was in my vehicle, but my photographer here, Justin, he saw when UPS actually pulled up with a flower delivery. That did happen just within the last 2 hours or so. And also, we'll see, there's an Amazon delivery here. Oh, you're fine. There's an Amazon delivery here, but right behind this Amazon vehicle, it looks like there's just, I'm not sure if they'll open the door for this one, but right behind that Amazon vehicle, there is a small memorial, people who have been dropping off flowers here. Let's see if, we've also seen a food delivery here this morning, so a number of deliveries coming to this home.
8 on your sides, Allison Henning. Folks, give her a follow on social media. She'll have the latest, of course, here from Northport, Florida. Allison, thanks a lot for your reporting as we get closer here, everybody, to the Gabby Petito family press conference. Hey, Allison, thanks a lot for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, JB.
As Amazon getting a little bit of free publicity here. Back here with you live, folks, and big shout out to Allison Henning for joining us here again. This is the video from the Laundrie home this morning. But really, let's show you exactly what everybody's waiting for here. There, live now in the center of your screen here, we have this makeshift podium here. We're going to be hearing from Gabby Petito's family here momentarily. If you're just joining us here, folks, WFLA Now, this is JB Buno. Masa 88 on your side, investigator Justin Schecker here with us live. And you guys, I'll bring you guys up here. We'll keep this here in the center of your screen, so if there's any activity here at the podium. But Masa, we'll start with you here. An emotional day, I'm sure, for Gabby Petito's family, just 2 days after the funeral for Gabby Petito.
Yeah, that's right. The family had said that they were not going to make any statements after that horrific discovery on Sunday of her body being found and confirmed. And this is going to be the first time that we hear from the family after the funeral. And I imagine they're going to be trying to get this back out on the news. I mean, it's so covered in the news already, but trying to increase the manhunt, increase the attention. We had that really potentially significant lead come out about the possibility of Brian Laundrie being in Fort DeSoto Park, about 75 miles away from the Laundrie family home. And we know the huge role that the public has played in this case with the YouTubers, Justin, you know this, and helping to possibly locate where Gabby Petito was ultimately found in Wyoming. And now that this information is out there, we obviously still need to vet it. We need to hear from officials. This is just coming from Dog the Bounty Hunter, but he does seem to, have some sort of proof that the Laundrie family was at Fort DeSoto on 2 occasions in early September. Now that information is out there, people that were at Fort DeSoto Park, we might start hearing from them. So a lot of developments today, Justin.
We did see on Sunday at that emotional memorial service, JB and Moss, we did hear from both of Gabby's fathers, Joseph Petito and Jim Schmidt. I got 2 quotes written down from that beautiful celebration of her life. One was the quote from one of her favorite songs, guys, and that was when Jim Schmidt quoted "Let It Be," and he said, "And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be." Of course, that is the song lyric that was tattooed on her arm. A second quote from her father, Joseph Petito, I'm going to read if I can read my chicken scratch heron here, but a very poignant quote. "If there's a trip you want to take it now. Do it while you've got the time. If there's a relationship that might not be the best for you, leave it now." So it's just 2 moments that stuck out to me from the memorial service, 2 powerful quotes, one quoting "Let It Be," and that second quote coming from her father, Joseph Petito. it was 2 weeks ago when this story was just taking off. I had the chance to speak with her father, and to think from there to now, as her father said, now the whole world knows her name. Everyone knows who this young woman is, knows the story, knows her dreams, her aspirations, and sadly this tragedy that has captivated the nation.
We were just given, I just want to, sorry to interrupt there, Justin, that was Richard B. Stafford, the Petito family and Schmidt family attorney there, and he just gave a 1-minute warning here. So, Justin, allow me just to kind of explain how this is going to work here for our audience as we wait for Richard Stafford and members of Gabby Petito's family here to file in. We're going to listen in to the press conference here from New York, listen in, as the entire really country will be listening in here, and then immediately afterwards, you can stay right here on this live stream, whether or not you're watching on WFLA.com, our app, on Facebook, or on YouTube, wherever you're watching from. We are then going to continue the conversation here, what we've learned in this press conference. Again, a lot of questions and comments about the search efforts underway here in the Tampa Bay area, so don't go anywhere. As soon as the press conference here is done, we'll continue the conversation, let you know what the latest is as far as the cause that is so loud and vibrant online, the justice, #justice for Gabby cause here. So let's kind of listen in here for a moment. This is, again, a 1 o'clock press conference that is about to get underway here live from New York, and we're anticipating hearing from members of Gabby Petito's family here. Justin, Masa, I would imagine, we'll kind of keep this up here full screen here for you folks, but I would imagine this is going to be an emotional press conference here for Gabby Petito's family, Nicole Schmidt, Jim Schmidt, whoever's going to be speaking here.
Yeah, I got emotional just listening to Justin, talk about that song and talk about, how her family wants her life to be remembered, not just her death. It's going to be very interesting to hear what they have to say, Justin.
And we know her father, Joseph Petito, has announced on Twitter the formation of a Gabby Petito Foundation looking to help other families that sadly might end up in a similar situation as this. And we know just her case alone has just brought back so much attention to these other missing person cases across the country. But this one really has captivated the country, guys, and just eager to see what the family attorney and her parents have to say. And there comes Mr. Stafford.
All right, here comes the family. Yeah, oh wow, a lot of members of the family. There's Richard Stafford, the attorney here. There's Nicole Schmidt. There's Jim Schmidt, Joe Petito, other members of the family here. Let's listen in live, and then we'll continue to talk here with you live on WFLA Now after the press conference concludes.
Good afternoon. From the moment Nicole called to report that Gabby was missing, the worst fears of any parent played out before our eyes. That nightmare became a reality when the Grand Teton search and rescue team located their beautiful daughter. During that time, they had an outpouring of love and affection and sympathy from not just their family and friends, but from the law enforcement community, the press, and from people around the world. And for that, they thank you. They've been given the time and the space to grieve this awful loss. And we ask that you continue to respect their privacy and give them the space and time to go through this difficult process. Gabby Petito was a beautiful woman. Her infectious smile and love of life made people gravitate to her. Gabby Petito loved life, loved people, and loved experiences. She was the bright light in everyone's life that knew her. Gabby's family does not want that light to dim, and they want to make some good from this awful tragedy. That's why they're starting the Gabby Petito Foundation. I'm joined today with Joe and Tara Petito, with Jim and Nicole Schmidt, and close friend Gary Ryder. They're going to make some statements, and after that, we're going to take some questions. Nick.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that we encountered out west in Wyoming, all of the law enforcement agencies out there and across the country for doing an amazing job with locating Gabby. Especially want to thank the Teton County Search and Rescue Team, who is a all-volunteer agency that come together They are highly trained, and they were a part of that mission to find Gabby, and they did an unbelievable job. We were so grateful for everybody out there. They were second to none. They were unbelievable, and we are forever grateful for that. And everybody back home who helped us as well. It was amazing that we were able to get her, and we're just happy to have her.
How you doing? I'd actually like to thank all you guys. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the media, press, especially the people that are behind the camera. All right, they don't get enough credit for what it is that they do, and so I do appreciate all them. Social media has been amazing, so I'd just like to thank everyone, for that. I do. It is greatly appreciated. That was very helpful in bringing our daughter home. So thank you very much.
I don't think we can thank everybody enough. I really want to thank the Aware Foundation and We Help the Missing for putting her poster out there. It reached over 2 million people within 48 hours. It was all over the world. Yeah. And I especially want to thank Detective Tracy Barry of the 5th Precinct here in Patchogue, because without her, we don't know when this would have even happened. She got the ball rolling. She's my angel, and I thank her the most. Thank you.
At this time, we'll be taking questions.
Dr. Burns, NBC News. The hashtag Justice for Gabby has been trending. You mentioned how much social media has been helpful in locating her and in this investigation. What does Justice for Gabby look like from here?
Do you want me to answer that?
Yeah.
Justice for Gabby is that we see justice for her homicide. The FBI has classified her death a homicide. They are the premier agency in the country. They're investigating her death, and we believe through their investigation, we will have justice for Gabby.
Rick.
Yes.
We haven't heard from the Laundrie family. We haven't been able to hear much from the FBI. They can't share a lot with us about Brian's whereabouts. Is there anything that you can tell us about the efforts to find him, what the family thinks about where he might be, and the Laundrie family silence?
Again, for the Laundrie's silence, the Laundries did not help us find Gabby. They're sure is not going to help us find Brian. For Brian, we're asking you to turn yourself in to the FBI or the nearest law enforcement agency.
Yesterday, the Laundrie family released a statement saying that Mr. and Mrs. Laundrie are not helping Brian get away and hide. Do you believe them?
That's for the FBI to investigate. I believe that they're the preeminent law enforcement organization in this country, and I know they're investigating all avenues of this case.
Rick, Trevor L. from ABC. Yes. You touched on trusting the FBI here. Does it bother the family at all that Brian Laundrie is still not named as a suspect in Gabby's disappearance?
The parents are 100% happy with the FBI. They've been with us at every single step of the way, and we know that they will bring justice for Gabby.
The Foundation for Gabby from CNN. Can you or the family talk at all about or describe what kind of contact you've had with the Laundrie family since early September, and what your previous relationship was like with that family while Gabby and Brian Laundrie were dating? Any sort of insight you can give us into those contacts?
We're not going to talk about the relationship between the Petito, the Schmidt, and the Laundrie family. The Petito and Schmidt family have spoken with the FBI, and they've requested that we don't discuss any relationship between Gabby, between Brian, or between the three families.
Can you just tell us about the foundation?
Yes.
You don't want her light to go dim, so what will the foundation do to keep her light shining?
Well, you man.
We're just hoping that through our tragedy with losing Gabby, that in the future that some good can come out of it, that we can help other people that may be in a similar situation, reach out to these other organizations that do similar things and find out what's missing. What can we do to fill that void? What can we do to help people? Just from the Aware Foundation alone and reaching 2 million people, they told us that other law enforcement agencies are now starting to look back at other missing persons cases and starting to reinvestigate them and look into them. And we're just hopeful that we're able to help people in the future, just try to get through something similar.
In the vein of not letting her light grow dim, I noticed Mom and Dad have some new tattoos that resemble that of Gabby. Would you be willing to tell us about that?
Yeah, these were tattoos that Gabby designed herself. She was an artist, and
I wanted to have her with me all the time,
so we all.
I feel it. This helps.
We all put them. We all.
Can you all show us?
Got 'em.
Everybody has.
It's all right, we do. Let it be. Let it be.
Believe.
Yeah, sure.
And you said Gabby designed those?
Gabby drew this one.
Yeah.
Listen, here's the end all, right? We need positive stuff to come from the tragedy that happened. All right? We can't let her name be taken in vain. We need positive stuff. All right? So anything that we can do to bring that up and help people, that's what we want to do.
Joe, do you think Brian's still alive?
I'm not going to talk about that.
Yes.
From you, say just about the community coming together. I mean, we've been at the memorial almost every day, and you have people coming from all over Long Island, from Montauk to the West End, because they all say they felt such a connection to Gabby. Like somebody said, she reminds them of her son, things like that. What does that mean to you, that she just drawn emotions from so many people over the country? I mean, I'm sure, and your Blue Point community with the candles being lit. Can you just step up and possibly respond to that outpouring and what it's meant to you?
I don't know how to respond to that. I just hope that people are inspired by her. It's hard to put into words, but it means a lot to me that she's touched so many lives already, and this is only 2 weeks into it, and I'm so proud of her for doing this, and we're going to keep it going. Like you said, keep the light going and help a lot of people if we can.
And will the foundation just be for missing children or missing adults as well? I think it said children, but I didn't know.
We're still working out, this has only been a few days, so we're still working that out. We want to help in any way we can. I just want to add to the last question that we've received letters, emails, cards from all over the world, from Australia, from Europe. We had people from Italy. We had people at the funeral that came from as far away as Texas, as Florida, as California. So people from all over the country have called and sent their well wishes.
Can you confirm that the fraudulent activity that Brian's been charged with, was that Gabby's card that he was using?
That's something you're going to have to talk to the FBI about, that I know that they have unsealed an indictment, so I believe they would be the best agency to deal with that.
And just a question for Joe. Joe, you mentioned social media. Can you tell me, do you feel, obviously, that the outpouring of people all across the world with tips coming in, that social media helped find Gabby? And how do you feel knowing that she was someone who wanted, she was in social media, the videos she made, everything else?
I don't want to dismiss the ridiculously hard work that the FBI and law enforcement all around did, but social media has been amazing and very influential. And to be honest, it should continue for other people too. This same type of heightened awareness should be continued for everyone. And that goes for you all too.
Joe, your words at the memorial service were very touching to many people. And I'm wondering if you've heard from people who heard your words about being inspired by Gabby's life and also leaving bad relationships.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Again, we've received messages from individuals on many issues since we started the foundation, and there are some that were really personal, and at this point we're not going to get into that.
Has the family spoken with Jen Bethune, the woman who took the video of the van?
We've spoken with numerous people that gave tips to the FBI and to us.
So they have spoken with Jen Bethune?
I believe they have.
What do you make of people like Dog the Bounty Hunter and John Walsh getting involved in looking for Brian Laundrie?
Again, we just like we ask for help to look from everyone that if they see Brian Laundrie or any information on that, we're asking that they call the local law enforcement or the FBI. We welcome everybody's help to find him. And if you have any information, we're asking that you call the FBI tip line or your local police department. So we'll take help from everybody.
What's the plans for her remains? Has FBI Denver contacted you about timing or when that might come back? Will somebody
Do you
go
want
out
to talk
there?
about it? You want to talk about it?
I didn't get a question.
Do you want to do it? Yes.
I'll talk about it. So, part of our goal was we wanted to bring her home as quickly as possible. But it's important for the FBI, the Teton County Sheriff's, the Teton County Coroner's Office to hold on to her for as long as they need. We want to make sure that no matter what, we do not impede their investigation in any way. We wanted her home immediately, but we understand their position, and we know that she's safe with them, and as long as she's with them. And it was a very tough decision to have to make to come home, but we felt it was important to come home so we could mourn her and celebrate her life and be with our family and friends. And when they're ready to release her, we will be bringing her home.
Have you gotten any of her things back from Florida?
Not yet.
Jim and Joe, you guys made a plea to the world, the country, the world, to help lead you to Gabby and help you find Gabby. Do you have a similar plea for the world to help you find Brian?
I want to help. I want to ask everyone to help all of the people that are missing and need help. And like I said before, it's on all of you, everyone that's in this room, to do that. And if you don't do that for other people that are missing, that's a shame. Because it's not just Gabby that deserves that. So look to yourselves on why not that's not being done.
And with Brian, that's our focus is still on mourning Gabby and honoring Gabby. The FBI is doing everything they can, and we have our full faith in them. So.
Can you say anything about what your understanding is of what was going on between September 1st and September 11th? Is this something that you're going to talk about?
No, we're not going to comment on that. That's part of the investigation at this point.
Can I understand? Shot of the four parents again, with your tattoos just all together. Oh yeah, sure. Maybe.
Could you get
Sorry.
That's all right. In front of the mics, there's a lot of wires.
I know. Just.
You guys smoke, Joe?
Thank you guys. Let's see.
Thank you.
When did you have these done?
We all had them done last night.
Oh, right.
We all did it together. Like we said, we've always co-parented Gabby together, and that's not going to stop now. We're in this together.
And do three of them say let it be, and then mom's yours says?
Mom has let it be as well.
No, I'm sorry, is that Gabby's handwriting? Is it the other or is it just?
This is the way she had it written.
That's the way she had it on her arm.
Yeah. So we all did it.
She
Oh, going right? Yes.
Yeah, the one on your arm.
And did you always have that vine on your finger, or did you?
Gabby had that vine.
And you got that recently, or?
I got that last night too.
Your arm a little, the light is reflecting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I saw the bandage on.
Yeah, I took mine off, sorry.
Very sorry.
Thank you. Listen, you guys have been great, and I appreciate every one of you, and all the people, like I said, that are behind the cameras that don't get the credit. You guys were instrumental, but everyone deserves the same type of awareness and the same type of stuff. So.
Let's just go back.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
We're good? We're good.
What's next?
Guys, I apologize.
Just have one question over here. What's next?
We don't stop.
Yeah, we don't stop, remembering Gabby and keeping her name out there and fighting for other people out there like her. She's always with us every day. She's giving us signs. It's difficult. We've been talking. We don't, where do you go from here? How do you go back to normal? Whatever normal may be from here on out. But we have each other. We're a big family. We have a huge support network. And we're just going to keep pushing forward and living every day and loving every day, because that's what Gabby did, and that's what we need to do.
You know, a lot of people would be very angry right now. Can you talk about, or do you at some level have anger, or is it just not happening yet?
We go through our bouts. It's an emotional roller coaster. There's ups and downs. Days that were full of pain and grief. Sometimes angry, but you stop, you take a breath. Remember Gabby and all the great times we had with her, and all the good memories, and all the good things we want to do in her name in the future. And that's what picks you up. That's what carries you through, and hopefully will keep us going from here on out.
And Jim, what kind of signs has she been giving you? Can you just step up a little bit tonight? Thanks.
We actually got behind a car yesterday, and there was a Wyoming sticker, and the letters were GBZ.
Gabs.
So Gabs. She's with us. She's with us.
She's with us.
All right.
She's with us.
I think we're good.
The signs are there. You just have to look for them.
Thank you
all so much.
Appreciate everyone.
Thank you.
We don't stop remembering Gabby. That's the message, the focus for Gabby Petito's family, showing tremendous strength here at a press conference in New York. They've created the Gabby Petito Foundation while mourning their daughter here in New York, and collectively now calling for justice for Gabby as the FBI continues their homicide investigation. Let's bring in our entire team here, folks. 8 on your sides, Masa Saidi. WFLA News Channel 8's Justin Shecker here with us. Masa, I know it's been emotional here,
Yeah.
and let's first and foremost, we're going to take some of your #HeyJB, #HeyMasa, #HeyJustin comments here. Let's just, for a moment here, folks, let's just kind of take off our reporter hat just for a second here, and let's just comment, all of us as human beings, the strength that we had here, the unbelievable strength by this family. It's unbelievably touching. I think it radiates and it spreads through the world. I think just how strong and brave and courageous this family is. Masa, what do you think?
Very moved by the tattoos. Very moved by it. The family, all of them last night getting Let It Be. It was a tattoo that Gabby had. Very emotional to me. Very beautiful way to remember her.
Justin?
Just this whole idea of, we see this, JB, where people try to turn tragedy into something positive. You heard from Joseph Petito calling out all the media in the room there, in the New York media market, networks all there, that you need to give the same level of attention to other families that go through these similar nightmares where their children go missing. We did hear a lot about this foundation to try to keep her bright light alive, and how this family will remain committed to celebrating the life of their daughter, but also trying to help other families that sadly end up in similar situations.
Everybody bear with me here. We are trying to reconnect with some of our audience here where we lost signal, so I'll continue. Why don't you guys continue just to break down here what we've learned here in this press conference?
Well, I will tell you, what we didn't really learn anything more about. The family was very careful, obviously on the advice of their attorney, to not release any information at all about, the criminal investigation. Reporters had all sorts of questions. Do you have any idea what was happening from September 1st to September 11th? They declined to answer that question. Reporters asked, are you upset that Brian Laundrie is just named a person of interest, that he's not named a suspect? And the family said that they were very happy with the FBI. We also learned that Gabby Petito's remains are still in Teton County, and Gabby Petito's stepfather said that, the family fully supports that. They know that she's in good hands there. Justin, what stood out to you?
I think there was one quote I wrote down, I believe it was Jim Schmidt might have said this, that the Laundrie family did not help find Gabby. They don't think they're going to help find Brian, but they were very limited in terms of answering questions about Brian. Obviously, they wanted to keep the focus of this press conference on announcing this foundation in her memory. You did hear throughout the press conference, the family reaffirmed their confidence in the FBI to go forward with this investigation. But you also heard Joseph Petito talk about the influential role that social media played in this. There was one particular question about the Bethune family who had that GoPro video that placed the white van on August 27th, not too far from where they found the remains in the camping area there in Bridger Teton National Forest. So, again, but just hammering this point home that they hope their daughter's story will bring more attention to other situations of other missing children. They're still working out exactly the mission of the foundation, but that seems to be what the focus will be, to try to help other families who end up in sadly similar situations.
Yeah, it seems like they're going to be looking into a void that exists in the search for missing persons nationally and try to tailor her foundation to that. And also, I want to just bring up, a reporter asked about Dog the Bounty Hunter being involved in the search for Brian Laundrie, and Gabby Petito family attorney said that, quote, "We welcome everyone's help," but he did, urge JB, anyone with information, I assume, including Dog the Bounty Hunter, to contact the FBI. Now, we don't know if the FBI knows about this alleged Fort DeSoto
If I could just jump in, we did reach out to the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office for our viewers outside of the area here. Fort DeSoto is a beautiful beach park area on the southern tip of Pinellas County, right near the Skyway Bridge. So this is the official word from the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. Quote, "We are not conducting an investigation at Fort DeSoto. We are unaware of any confirmed sightings. We will continue to refer you to Northport PD for any further questions." So that was the official response this morning from the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office to the Dog the Bounty Hunter lead. So I just wanted to make sure we got out the official statement from the law enforcement in that county.
And also, Paul Lamison, which is a photojournalist, one of our photojournalists on the air every single day throughout this. I talked with him this morning around 8:30. He had flown over using Eagle 8, our helicopter.
We have that video.
All of the relevant scenes.
Hold that right there, Masa. Hold that right there, because let's get to some of the hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyMasa, hashtag HeyJustin comments and questions here. And yes, we are going to be featuring some of the really nice ones. In fact, let's start with a nice one. Let's start with a really kind one. Kelly Kern, hashtag HeyJB. My prayers are with Gabby's family and friends, and then a lot of the prayer hands emojis there, and we other comments coming in here. But if you'd like your comment to be featured here, you can ask a question about where this goes forward. Now you can ask, or you can point a comment about just what you thought of the press conference here by Gabby Petito's family. If you use one of the three hashtags that we have here, JB Masa, hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyMasa, hashtag HeyJustin, we can animate your comment here on screen. If you don't want to be featured in that way, just don't use the hashtag and we'll let it continue go. Scroll through our comment section here. But let's get to Sierra Moore, hashtag HeyJB. Can you give us any insight on the campsite that Dog the Bounty Hunter found? So let's just kind of rewind here now to Saturday. This is Dog the Bounty Hunter knocking on the front door of Brian Laundrie's home. They did not answer. 911 was called. Clearly the media all over this because they've been parked outside of the house waiting. And then this morning here, to Masa's note, and Masa, I'll bring it back in here. Yeah. This is the Eagle 8 HD video of the campsite at Fort DeSoto, and there was nothing out here quite literally but crickets.
Yeah, the Paul Lamison, our chief photojournalist, up in the air for us every single day on the search. There was nothing visible to him at Fort DeSoto. This is some of the footage that he shot this morning. Doesn't mean that, something might not have been happening behind the scenes, but nothing that was visible to him. Same thing with the Carlton Reserve as well. He also flew over that scene, but we do want to talk about kind of this new information from Dog the Bounty Hunter. Now, he says that he has reason to believe that on two separate occasions, from September 1st to September 3rd, and again from September 6th to September 8th, that Brian Laundrie's family booked a campsite here at the Fort DeSoto campgrounds. Now, I went online, I looked into this a little bit this morning. There's 236 campsites, site number 1 to 85. That's if you have a van or something, or you want to put up a tent. And according to Dog the Bounty Hunter, and again, we haven't confirmed this, but he spoke very passionately about this. He said that they initially, from September 1st to 3rd, and remember, Brian Laundrie arrived back at his Northport home on September 1st alone without Gabby Petito. Right. Yeah. And they're saying that on that day, according to Dog the Bounty Hunter, the family went on a 3-day trip and they stayed at Campground Space 1. And he's saying that again, on September 6th to 8th, the three of them went back, and this is the huge, allegation or claim that Dog the Bounty Hunter is making, that only 2 of them left that campground.
Yeah, I want to hop in here, Justin. Hold that thought for a second here, because Josh Benson just came through here with a bit of a breaking news update that we can independently report and confirm here. So this is from Josh Benson, who you might have just seen on WFLA News Channel 8, and he says, in my attempt to independently confirm the Laundries, we're at the Fort DeSoto campground, what you're looking at here in the center of your screen, in Pinellas County from September 6th to the 8th. We can confirm Brian Laundrie's mother checked in to the Fort DeSoto campground. So this is it now. This is another pin, another thumbtack on the board here as far as adding more now to the timeline, and that the dates are very important here. So Brian Laundrie's mother, Roberta Laundrie, checking in. And we don't know if she was, we can't, say if whether or not she was alone. We do have the mother, just the actual evidence that she checked in on September 6th through the 8th at Fort DeSoto campground in Pinellas County. Very curious to see if this is now we don't know if this is information that the FBI has had for some time, Masa and Justin. We don't know
They
if
keep
this is
things
something
to
that
the
they've
vest. I mean, we know we're dealing with the FBI here. I mean, they're going to keep lots of their vest. I just want to jump in one point. When Masa was talking about the timeline.
Yeah.
The reason they time-stamped when Brian Laundrie returned to Northport is that the license plate reader picked up the white camper van registered to Gabby Petito around 10:30 in the morning on September 1st. If you saw the aerials from our friend Paul Lamison, there is a similar checkpoint license plate scanner that you'd think any investigative agency will be able to go back, guys, and be able to see if indeed that red truck belonging to the Laundrie parents did go through that checkpoint to get there. So that would seem to be one way to confirm whether or not this family was indeed there, but now we are seeing, there's potential reports that they might have been there. So I imagine those license plate readers, guys, is one key piece to help track the vehicles to see indeed if the Laundrie family vehicle was at the park on these dates that Dog the Bounty Hunter is reporting.
And also there would be a reservation slip, some sort of record. It costs about $34 a night to rent out one of these campsites. So if they stayed there and used their actual real names, then there would be a record of it. Now, Dog the Bounty Hunter has had multiple interviews with different outlets, and he's kind of jumped around a little bit on this about whether there's any surveillance video. I believe at the entrance of the park there might be some
There's
video.
likely a camera there with the license plate.
Right.
Yeah, and that, we did see there is Paul said that there is a toll booth there. That's very, very important. I have to just file a correction here for our audience here. I was reading that from Josh. I thought that was written by Josh. That is another media outlet there confirming. So I just want to make that very, very clear that WFLA News Channel 8 hasn't independently confirmed that the Laundries were at the Fort DeSoto campground in Pinellas from 6th to the 8th. That is another media outlet here. But this is just another now piece of all of this now coming together, and I'm sure that our WFLA team here is working the phones here to confirm this information here as well. But that, again, that is not confirmed by WFLA News Channel 8, so I misspoke there based on the email that had just come in from Josh. So my apologies there to our audience here, or my apologies to the audience here. I want to be very, very transparent here with how we go about the news. I didn't see it as a quote. I thought it was written by Josh himself on a keyboard, and it was not.
But what's very interesting, and this was one of the questions that came up, was kind of what happened, and the family didn't really want to talk about this, between the 1st and the 11th. We know from having pieced together their journey out west, we've talked about what happened in Moab, Utah. I believe it was on August 12th. We know August 19th, Gabby and Brian posted that long video on the YouTube page, appearing to be happy everything was okay. We know the 27th, we heard the report, there's a young woman on Instagram talking about the fight she observed at the restaurant in, I believe, in Wyoming. And then, of course, that key piece of evidence, the video placed in the van there. And we know the FBI
very
is still
close to where her body was discovered.
And the FBI is still focusing on the 27th to the 30th.
Asking for people.
And then from the
to come forward. That was out of Wyoming.
And then from the arrest warrant.
Teton National Park.
Yes, and from the arrest warrant, they know it's activities, the credit card bank fraud from after her homicide. And so now the question is, what happened with Brian Laundrie and his parents from September 1st to September 11th when Northport PD showed up that night and they just handed them the attorney's card from Mr. Bertolino, this is our attorney. Where was Brian in those 11 days? Where is he now? And that has to be the focus of trying to figure this out. And imagine the FBI, if Dog the Bounty Hunter has contacted them, will try to verify these reports that the family went to this campground, this You're looking right on your screen there during that 1st to the 11th.
Guys, if I could hop in here, I just want to get to some of the, Masa, you have a quick note? I want to get to some of the comments here.
As of 11 last night, Dog the Bounty Hunter was telling reporters he had not contacted the FBI, which is why I imagine the Petito family attorney said, we'll take anyone's help but contact the FBI. JB?
I want to take this one really quickly because this is new information here, and I can answer this question based on information that has been available in our newsrooms of late, or newsroom recently. Kelly and Chris Weaver, hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyMasa, hashtag HeyJustin, is the FBI out still searching the reserve. Paul Lamison this afternoon, about an hour ago, made did a pretty thorough flight over the Carlton Reserve. It's a very vast area, 25,000 acres, but Paul was just there, and he couldn't find any search efforts. Now, as a reminder, yesterday, Monday, the 27th here, that was when the FBI and Northport Police were scaling back at Carlton Reserve, saying that the search was now being targeted based on intelligence. But when Eagle flew over yesterday, it was a considerably smaller search effort at the vast wilderness that is the Carlton Reserve near Myakkahatchee. Today, a return flight, doing our due diligence, going back over there, Paul Lamison and Eagle 8 HD, and couldn't find anything. And not to say that they're not there, but Paul did a very thorough, flight over the area and could not find an active search there on the ground. Again, could still be on the ground there searching, but it seems as if they are considerably scaling back here from the search efforts that we were talking about last week. Some more comments here. I want to get through some of these because there are some extremely kind comments here. Bonnie Medina, hashtag HJB, to Gabby's family, may your happy memories bring light to your darkness. Jill Englot here, hashtag HeyJB, absolutely love this family. In the middle of what I can only imagine as complete devastation, they made sure to say more than once that everyone missing deserves attention. I echo this so much because Gabby Petito's father, Joe Petito, speaking out there several times, pointing to the media. It falls on all of us here to step up our game when it comes to missing person cases in this country. It falls on all of the online sleuthers out there, the YouTubers, TikTokers, everybody on Twitter and Instagram, all these folks. We've pooled so much in resources and so much attention into the Gabby Petito story. There are other missing person cases out there that deserve attention too. Yeah.
And in general, the reason that many news agencies, as having been a journalist along with everyone here for, more than a decade, the reason that news agencies don't immediately cover every missing persons case is quite often the person will be found. And, as an adult, you have a right to go out. So ordinarily, news organizations don't start covering a missing persons case until the police get involved, until there's very suspicious circumstances. And anytime that the family is heavily involved and the entire community is looking for a missing person, that also ups the amount of coverage that you have. But absolutely, this case has gotten coverage that I can't remember another missing person case in recent memory getting this much coverage.
I think that this is going to change the conversation. I think it's a big game changer as far as missing persons in this country, and with all the technological means here. And we know when you get an Amber Alert, right? Your phone buzzes. Everyone's phone within the coverage area for that Amber Alert just starts going off the hook, and that very loud sound that you get on your phone for an Amber Alert. But I think there's going to be more conversations now, and perhaps spurred by the Gabby Petito Foundation that's been created. More conversations. It's about how can we be better and how can we prevent future tragedies connected to missing person cases in this country. Laura Lee Bunnell Glenn, hashtag HeyJB, what a beautiful unity shown between both Gabby's families.
Yeah.
Speaks to, she was so wonderful. Yeah, we have Gabby Petito's father and stepfather there and other members of the family here, all of them showing complete unity. Masa was really touched.
I was about to cry, and I stopped before, and that's because you just think about how they're dealing with such incredible pain at that moment, and they want to have something, and they put that tattoo on their arm so they can just touch it, they can hold it. I just felt that mother's pain. I just thought it was such a beautiful moment. I hope it brings her some bit of peace that her daughter is with her. And did anyone hear, did she design that tattoo? I know it was based on her favorite song, but I believe she actually designed that.
Well, it's touching that it was Let It Be, right? Who doesn't know that song? And that song is so amazing and just its message and what it means to people on a personal level. So you see Let It Be, and this all speaks to who Gabby was as a person, and it just strikes a chord with people because you just wish wish that she was here. You wish that Gabby Petito was here. We all wish that we weren't live with all of this endless coverage about this terrible tragedy that occurred, this homicide that occurred in the area of Northwest Wyoming, and you just wish that the circumstances were different. But it speaks to how amazing of a person Gabby was and how she really did touch so many. And she was beloved within her family. Darcy Byrne, #KJB, the family has been so strong. Keep in mind, there are other children in the family too. And I've been in contact with Gabby Petito's family. I've been talking to Nicole Schmidt over the last week or so. And yes, there are their siblings there. And this is something that they, I think that adults are a little bit more, and no one's equipped to handle a tragedy of this magnitude. This is terrible, but for kids and teens need more guidance than adults do, given the circumstances that are this tragedy. So that's a really great point by Darcy, and I really appreciate Darcy bringing it up here. Kelly Kearns, #KJB, my prayers are with Gabby's family and friends. I think we took this one earlier here, and now we can start to see some of the other comments that are coming in here. Carol Alford, #KJB, I am very proud of this family, the pain they must feel, but not allowing to let this story drop until they have justice. Took a lot of courage here. And let's listen, let's also take a comment like this. We're talking so much about Gabby Petito's parents, but how about Brian Laundrie's parents? Patty here is saying, #KJB, are the parents being kept an eye on? What's to say that they won't disappear too? And I think that this is one of the many reasons why every time they leave the house here, their every movement, Justin, is being monitored there in Northport, Florida.
And we do know about that trip last week where they drove to Orlando, JB. One of my interesting observations on that, us here in the Tampa Bay media market, we've been all over this story. I thought it was very interesting. Stephen Bertolino flew to Orlando that day, not to TPA, and the parents went over to Orlando to meet with him, and that was right on the cusp of the arrest warrant coming out. I don't think that was coincidental, JB, that they went to Orlando, not to Tampa. Just one point. But to keep the focus on Gabby, I just had this one quote I really want to read from Richard Stafford, the attorney for the family. In the opening statement, he said, Gabby loved life, loved people, loved experiences, and they hope the goal of the Gabby Petito Foundation is they do not want her light to dim. That really jumped out at me, JB, in the opening. Just really, they came out there today to announce this foundation, and just, we know she was an artist. We know she loved to travel, and just, again, this family is dedicated to keeping her memory and her spirit alive.
Taking my reporter hat off for a second, I think just the way that Gabby lived her life in the moment, I think that has been inspiring, for me, for all of us, and I think the family would appreciate that. But what stood out to me about this was that the mom taking the time to thank the detective, the female detective, and the 5th precinct, this is in New York, the person that helped and finally listened to her to file that missing persons report. And the mother said, quote, she's my angel, and I thank her the most. And this goes back to the point that I was making about a lot of times missing persons cases, they don't get the attention, not just from the media, but from police. So it does take that mom that will just not drop it and is going to stay on it to grab the attention.
And we know she had those suspicious text messages from late August where she was like, this is not my daughter. We know her Instagram account has been so meticulously scrutinized with the geotags, the last 2 posts. So as I said in our stream last week, JB, it's still remarkable to me that within 8 days of that report being filed, they located this young woman's body out there. I mean, that just goes to show the amount of attention. You heard Joseph Petito say, hats off to the FBI, but can't
you, the public, right there.
Yeah, everyone watching
JB every day.
And when I talked to Joseph Petito 2 weeks ago today, he said, I want you to see the images, get them in your head. He wanted everyone to share her story, call the tip line, and just, they were obviously concerned. They got it out there, and they can't thank all of you enough for providing the FBI these tips, especially, the ones with the videos of the vans and everything else. And again, Gabby is still not home, and the family said they want her to remain in the coroner's there to do the full investigation. But again, they just expressed their gratitude to all of you at home who have shared her story, shared her photos, and now it's just a matter of getting justice for Gabby.
And it's been 2 weeks. 2 weeks, if you want to take what the parents have said, 2 weeks since Brian Laundrie allegedly left his home in Northport to go to the Carlton Reserve.
The day before he was named a person of interest in her disappearance.
Right, the day before.
Yep.
Now let's take this question. We got a lot of questions and comments here. Another kind one here. I just want to follow up here with this one. Tiffany Klein, hashtag HeyJB. The positive co-parenting, these 4-parent show, is absolutely astounding and inspiring.
And from you saw the other woman who was in the press conference, that is Tara Petito, her stepmom, and she was on the Zoom interview with me 2 weeks ago, and she's always felt like Gabby's second mother. And you heard Joseph Petito say after Jim Schmidt spoke on Sunday that they're both her fathers, both her parents, and that she was so loved and adored by these 2 sets of parents who helped raise her, and now just they're trying to turn this unimaginable heartbreak into something positive by launching this Gabby Petito Foundation.
This question has been repeated so many times that I want to bring it up here, and I'll let all of us kind of chime in here, especially you two, because I've chimed in on this exact question previously, but it's being asked so many times here. Let's talk about, for a moment here, and I'm speaking to the audience that has now been watching me for over the last couple of weeks. Let's just and this will all make sense, the strength that Gabby Petito's family showed in stepping up to the podium here and speaking, all the grief, all the unbelievable heartache, all of this pain that they are feeling, and they still were able to come forward, step up to the microphone, and it wasn't about them as much as it was bringing awareness to other missing persons, commending the FBI, even though some online have been extraordinarily critical of the FBI and wanting more results from the FBI. The amount of grace and strength and courage that they showed here is noteworthy, especially according to our commenters now, especially when you compare it to what Brian Laundrie's parents are doing. And I want to take this comment here from our audience here. Georgia Dollar. Hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJustin, hashtag HeyMassa. Why don't the parents of Brian Laundrie's just give an interview on television like other parents have? Unless they're hiding things and lying, then people will leave them alone. The people just want answers. And Justin, first and foremost here, again, the Brian Laundrie's parents have not been charged here with any crime. Of course, people are there's going to be endless speculation, but it's our job here and it's our responsibility here to remind people of the facts of the case here. And I'm going to ask you to bring up the statement, one of the two of you, the statement from Stephen Bertolino.
Right here, JB, right on cue.
This is now, so one more second. This is Stephen Bertolino's statement yesterday. That's the Brian Laundrie family attorney releasing this.
And they've really been speaking through Mr. Bertolino from the get-go on this. We know when the Northport Police Department showed up on the night of the September 11th, they said, hey, here's our attorney's card. So this is what Stephen Bertolino sent us yesterday, because we know there's continued protests outside the home there in Northport. So he said, quote, again, Stephen Bertolino says, quote, Chris and Roberta Laundrie do not know where Brian is. They are concerned about Brian and hope the FBI can locate him. The speculation by the public and some in the press that parents assisted Brian in leaving the family home or in avoiding arrest on a warrant that was issued after Brian had already been missing for several days is just wrong. So again, that is from their family attorney, who has really been the only method of communication from the parents as they've come under so much scrutiny as people across the country want to know where their son is, and more importantly, what does he know about what happened to Gabby.
And I want to bring in Massa here for a second. Massa, you're a parent. So
I'm also an attorney.
What's that now?
I said I'm also an attorney.
You're a parent. You are a former prosecutor in New York. I've been wanting to ask you this question all week here. There's been a lot of people pointing out that Brian Laundrie's parents, Chris and Roberta Laundrie, they're in their homes, and a lot of parents are out there saying, if it was me and if it was my child that was out there in the wilderness or missing in the subject of a missing persons alert, and if they were really concerned and worried and freaking out about their child's safety, wouldn't they be coming up to the podium to have a press conference like this saying, please help us find our son? Wouldn't they be more active with the FBI? This is some of the questions that we're getting now on social media as to, again, Brian Laundrie's parents, and again, it's their American right, it's their constitutional right to remain silent, but they're staying silent as their son is the subject of the most talked about missing persons case in the world right now.
Well, I presume, I'm just going to take kind of the other side of this, since you brought up one viewpoint. I assume that they have, talked with the FBI. They said, whether you believe them or not, they have said this is the last place we saw him, and at this point, I think everybody is looking for Brian Laundrie. So I'm not sure, how much it would help the effort if they got out there and said, help us find Brian Laundrie at this point, especially since a lot of people assume that Brian is the one that did something bad since he's the sole person of interest in this investigation. And this just really reminds me of everything that people were saying when Brian Laundrie refused to cooperate, when Brian Laundrie refused to talk. As much as it frustrated law enforcement, as much as it made so many people on the public say, well, that's it right there, he's guilty. As, a straight up journalist and also as an attorney, I have to just respect that, he has that right under the Constitution to not incriminate himself, and that is the right that he's exercising. And I think his parents also, have that right to not speak to anyone, and that is what they're choosing to do right now. And I don't know if the parents went out and said, help us find Brian, we're so sad, how much that would actually, make people say, oh, let's go find Brian, I feel bad for him now. So,
any thoughts there, Justin?
Again, I think it's part of the reason this family is under so much scrutiny is they haven't come out and said anything if they're concerned. But again, they'd be pampered with questions. They'd get, all the questions they don't want to answer, and understandably they're remaining silent, and they will continue to put out statements through their attorney as they've done from the get-go.
Here's where they could get in trouble. They could get in trouble if they gave false information to law enforcement. That would be like hindering the investigation. They would get in trouble if they were like tampering with witnesses. But at this point, just choosing not to go out there and have interviews with, the press, that is completely their right.
Yeah. Let's take some more questions and comments here via social media, but again, #KJB, #KJustin, #KMasa, and standing by on whether or not we're going to get Josh Benson here in the stream. And Josh is walking by. Are you available in the next few minutes? Okay, so I know the Masa does have to get going here shortly in the next.
I'm good until 2:30.
Okay, you're good until 2:30. Okay. All right, so we'll make lemonade, as they say. We'll try to get as many voices in here as possible.
You mentioned
yes, Justin.
Josh sent an email to the newsroom. I know about the report we corrected earlier. So this is what Josh sent us a few minutes ago. Josh says he called the park and inquired about the records from at Fort DeSoto Park with this. You're looking on your screen right there. Josh writes, they've been told to refer all requests regarding any records, guests, or inquiries regarding Brian Laundrie to the Denver FBI field office. So thank you to our friend and anchor. And look, and that's the thing, once Northport turned this over to the FBI, I've sent them emails, and I asked specifically to the FBI, can you say with certainty the video of the white van in the park helped lead you to the body? And I got we're not going to answer that question. It was a simple yes and no question. One thing that our colleague Walt Buteau has pointed out, JB, is just how in this social media age, we're literally getting our updates, the arrest warrants, the developments from the FBI's Twitter page.
Yeah, that is just me to the Twitter page. Every time I ask questions,
fascinating to all of us who are in the business a decade or more dealing with federal law enforcement. That is where we are these days. So, but again, thank you to our friend Josh Benson for having reached out. They're saying any questions about Fort DeSoto Park, you're looking on your screen there. We'll have to go through the FBI. We know the FBI can be pretty tight-lipped about things.
Always.
But they did want to get out that arrest warrant last week. With the bank fraud and the accessing the $1,000, so that made him now a wanted fugitive for his activity
used the
after
Capital One card and there was debit of someone. And didn't say Gabby, but
they
someone.
asked. The reporter asked the attorney whether it was her card, and he would not comment on that. That is unconfirmed, but we know it's activity after the homicide.
Someone else's
Gabby
card.
Petito.
Someone else's card. I can't help but wonder what J. Edgar Hoover would have thought about the FBI
using
and
Twitter,
using Twitter. That's an interesting thought here. Tiffany's comment's been up here on screen. I want to acknowledge it. #KJB, #KJustin, #KMasa. So why don't the Laundries make it right and come out with their own press conference? There's a lot of comments out there like this one, like Tiffany's here, and let me just chime in here. And Masa's a former prosecutor. It's great to have her insight here on this as well. The Laundrie parents right now are so radioactive as far as them coming forward that if anything that they were to say, even as sincere and genuine and well-intentioned as it might be, they're just going to get prodded nonstop here. And so I would imagine that, of course, that the Laundrie parents are following the advice of their attorney, Stephen Bernalino, in right now not holding a press conference similar to what you just saw from Gabby Petito's
and
family.
The one day we know it was last Tuesday, I believe he had planned a press conference, Mr. Bernalino.
He did.
And then canceled it. And I remember I said at the time was probably the right thing to do from a PR perspective, because that was the day, sadly, we learned her remains were confirmed to be her, and they ruled it a homicide. So that was the only time in the 2+ weeks of covering this that their family attorney said he was going to come, take questions, do a press conference, and that was canceled. And sadly, that was the same day we learned that this is now a homicide investigation.
Let's take some more here. Let's get to, I want to speak to this comment here from Amanda Burns, #HeyJB. Why did the lawyer, Robert B. Stafford, walk away during questions? I feel uneasy about that. He should have been there to protect them and as a buffer. Let me make one thing perfectly clear. They didn't have to take questions. I thought it was so strong of them to take questions. So many times with a press conference of this magnitude, you're going to have a family or an attorney come forward. They're going to read off of a piece of paper, and then they're going to not take any questions, and then they walk away. Their question and answer portion was longer than their initial statement, which I think speaks to the character of this family, right?
I think they're truly grateful for the outpouring of love and support.
Yep.
I mean, you heard that over and over again, just how much, I know you've been sharing the beautiful bracelets, JB, people are doing in memory of Gabby, and I just think they really, going through this unimaginable pain, there's JB showing his bracelet, that they are thankful that the community coming behind them is helping them get through this. I think that really came across during this news conference. Again, back to the goal of this foundation is to make sure other families don't feel alone if they have to go through this, something awful and similar to what they've gone through these past few weeks.
A lot of questions and comments coming in here. Let's continue to take more. Danielle Kelly. I haven't really taken this sort of question or comment yet, but we'll take it from Danielle. #HeyJB, #HeyJustin, #HeyMassa. Again, use any of these hashtags and we can animate your comment on screen. Is anyone else getting annoyed with all the crazy conspiracy theories on social media, namely TikTok? It's really sad what these people are saying with absolutely no basis. Please allow me to go first here on this one, and then I'll allow Massa and Justin to chime in here as far as the crazy conspiracy theories and TikTok. Danielle, I share your frustration. There's just a lot of people out there that are looking to capitalize on a tragedy, and that's really terrible to see somebody trying to make some baseless accusation here. We're trying to document what's going on here as far as the facts of the case and trying to have a conversation with you here live on WFLA Now, but there are people out there that are trying to fabricate reality, fabricate facts, fabricate the truth, and that's just terrible. It's just terrible, but you can't really come down too hard on TikTok because there are so many really well-intentioned, good people out there on TikTok trying to do the right thing and trying to spread accurate information rather than misinformation. So while there might be a lot of garbage out there, a lot of trash out there that you have to sift through, it's really unfortunate. There is some really good-willed, well-intentioned social media activity out there on TikTok, on Reddit, on YouTube, on all the various social media platforms. And while it is sad to see all the crazy conspiracy theories come about, we're here in the Massa and Justin and I, we're all going to be shaking our heads here. We're kind of used to the crazy conspiracy theories. I mean, we're
all on Facebook.
We're all on Facebook. Yeah. The conspiracy theories are kind of, and you kind of going through that mess. That's kind of part of the job now when you're a journalist in 2021. So, anybody else want to chime in here on this comment?
We appreciate all you guys watching for trusting us, because I'm sitting next to two great colleagues here who've been on this from the beginning, and you guys, myself, we all try to vet through the nonsense and try to get the facts out there. For example, I referenced earlier about the timeline on the 27th. There was a girl on Instagram who said, we saw them get in a fight at that restaurant. I didn't feel comfortable reporting that, guys, until Mary Piglets, the restaurant, came out and said, yes, Petito and Brian Laundrie were at our restaurant. So it goes back to vetting, having trusted journalists like these colleagues I'm sitting next to, that we will continue to let the facts lead us where we go. We will vet things out and Masa wants to add to that.
Yeah, I just want to say that, talking about the impact of these conspiracy theories, less, but also just of all the tips of, I saw Gabby here, I saw Brian here. Just this morning, I was reading a couple articles about people saying that they saw Brian on this day at this state and so forth. And I think just the impact that has, it has been so wildly helpful to law enforcement in one way, but every single time that a tip like this goes out, they do have to look at it, they do have to investigate it. So it would certainly be great if people weren't giving out, information that's not true, but a lot of people thinking that they saw Brian Laundrie here or there, a lot of people spotting the couple, and everyone coming forward. We hope most of them have good intentions, but certainly some people are going to be looking for their 15 minutes. But tips can go into...
TikTok nowadays, Masa, it's 15 seconds.
Yeah,
I mean,
15
it's
seconds.
so minute as far as fame goes, or what I'm getting at. The human attention span is shrinking by the hour as far as TikTok and social media platforms. I mean, I say that, and people have been watching us now for I get analytics here. People watch us for an average of about 10 minutes, and then they move on. That's more than TikTok, which is beneficial to us as far as our viewership is concerned. But yeah, it's all the people out there that are trying to capitalize on this. It's just you're getting in the way of some really incredible people out there that are trying to do the right thing. I'll let you guys take this one. Shirley Harris, and we really don't know the answer to this question. #KJB, is the FBI going to search the campground? And let's show the campground again here from Eagle 8HC. Well, here's
Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Dog the Bounty Hunter, who again has stirred the pot. Can I say stirred the pot on social media with some of what he has been able to find out and what his team has been able to find out here over the last 24 hours as far as the Fort DeSoto campground here. This is now information that's coming out and being confirmed here. Who would like to take this one first?
I will. So I think just because we have just found out about the Laundrie family allegedly being at Fort DeSoto, again, we are working to get those records of the family signing in and having their reservation confirmed. Just because it's the first that we're hearing about it does not mean that the FBI has not known about it, has not looked into it, has not already searched the campsite there. So I just wouldn't underestimate the FBI. Dog the Bounty Hunter likes the microphone more than the FBI does in this type of situation.
And I'll add in, when I spoke to Northport PD, when I first talked to Josh Taylor about this case, he talked about trying to get phone records. He also mentioned, trying to access bank records. We know the only crime so far that Brian Laundrie is accused of is a financial crime.
Right.
He said, look, it takes time to access those bank records. So as for this report of them being at the campsite, I go back to what is a key piece of evidence now. License plate readers and records like that. So you'd have to imagine the FBI is digging into that with the help of their local partners here. So again, we are working to verify these reports that the Dog the Bounty Hunter has put out there. But as Masa said, do not underestimate the FBI. And the family made it clear at this press conference they have full confidence in federal law enforcement to get justice for their daughter.
And if I can just add one quick thing, the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office saying to us today, quote, "We are not conducting an investigation at Fort DeSoto. We are unaware of any confirmed sightings of Brian. We will continue to refer you to the Northport PD." They should mean the FBI for any further questions.
1-800-CALL-FBI tips.
I'm going to put you guys on the spot here. Josh Benson standing by to sit down here with us and carry the conversation forward. Who would like to stay and who would like to move on here in the newsroom?
Deadline than me, Masa, but
I'm good staying. Yeah, until 2:30.
Josh's info. I guess I'm being.
All right, so Justin, you want to hop back on with us at 2:30? I mean, if we're still streaming,
yes.
That way
I'll be around, JB.
All right, Justin. Thanks a lot. Hey, Justin, maybe if you find out something.
I'll call Fort DeSoto. We'll try.
All right, everybody. JB Buno, Masa Saidi. Masa's here with us till 2:30.
Yeah.
That's great. Masa, thanks so much for spending some time here with us again. Our journalists here.
Just for you.
Let me just explain. Thank you, Masa. Let me just explain how this works. Our journalists have responsibilities to our broadcast product, to WFLA News Channel 8, and filing reports, television reports. And so they can sit down here with us for a period of time, and they can dedicate some time to this. But the more time that they sit down here, the less time that they have for their other responsibilities in the newsroom. So it's an active conversation here as far as getting them involved and being able to sit down with them. And it's great to have folks like Masa join us here. Masa, as I bring Josh here into the conversation, what else would you like to point out here at this hour?
I can tell you about, what I'm going to be working on for our news tonight at 6. The Moab City Police Chief taking a leave of absence. We don't know how long this is going to be, but we have confirmed that he's taking a leave of absence under the Family Leave Act. The department has really gotten a lot of bad press, to say the least, for the handling of the incident that happened in Moab, Utah on August 12th. That's when a 911 caller claimed to see Brian Laundrie hitting Gabby Petito. Law enforcement found their vehicle, pulled them over. Ultimately, you saw police and body cam video, more than an hour long, tried to get to the bottom of it, but ultimately they determined that Gabby Petito was the aggressor in that case. Nobody was arrested, nobody was cited, and a lot of people saying if that case had been handled differently, maybe we wouldn't be where we are right now. We know the city of Moab has launched an investigation into whether the police department violated any of their policies and procedures, but the news that broke last night, what I'm going to be focusing on today at 6 p.m., is the fact that the police chief has now resigned. JB.
All right, Masa Saidi here with us with the latest, and she'll have the latest tonight on WFLA News Channel 8. Let's bring in Josh Benson, everybody, from, of course, your local friendly television news station,
Masa,
WFLA News Channel 8.
But I don't mind it. I don't know. I kind of like it though. Yeah, too much talking. I'm right next to Josh, so he just loves to hear my voice.
I hear Masa talk all day long.
You're so lucky.
Josh, we're going to bring you right in here to talk about this character here, and quite literally a character as far as reality TV goes. What are we learning this hour about Dog the Bounty Hunter and about the search or the lack thereof, perhaps, at Fort DeSoto in Pinellas County, Florida?
So the latest right now is I just got off the phone with the office at Fort DeSoto, and I talked to a representative who's managing the office, and she says, I was asking for records, obviously one of the records of when people went there. There's tipster claims that the family was there on 2 separate occasions in September. And now we're starting to see on social from different media outlets the logs of these visits by Roberta Laundrie. Smith lists her name specifically, but now everything is being directed to the FBI. So I'm trying to get some information or get the proof that they were there as quickly as possible. We might have to take some additional steps to do that, so we'll probably need our reporters to do some of that and get the records that we can try to access on the fly. But that's what's happening right now. So if I look at it from a search perspective, we talked about the reserve. Right now it's quiet. Eagle 8 just flew over it not too long ago, and it's very quiet out there.
As we're looking at here, and again, folks joining us here, you can use hashtag HeyJosh now, hashtag HeyJosh, hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyMasa. Let's get some more questions going in here in the YouTube Live, Facebook Live conversation, or comment section, excuse me. But Josh, not to interrupt, you can continue.
No, it's all right.
Masa, what do you think about what's unfolding here over the last 36 hours as far as Dog the Bounty Hunter goes? And it's just created a massive sort of intrigue online. This is what reality TV does, right? I mean, it's their jobs to strike up intrigue here, and it seems to be working on places like Twitter.
Yeah, I think it's intriguing, and by the reports that Josh just referenced, what Dog the Bounty Hunter is saying seems to be getting checked out by other media outlets. Again, WFLA is working to confirm and get those records. But what he was saying last night to other reporters and other news outlets was that the family went there twice to Fort DeSoto, which is about 75 miles away from their home, from September 1st to September 3rd, again from September 6th to September 8th. And Dog the Bounty Hunter claims that on September 8th, Brian Laundrie stayed behind and just the parents went back. But certainly he came back to Northport, Florida on September 1st. This new information that appears to be getting checked out, that the family went to this campsite about 75 miles away on the day that he returned. It's intriguing, to say the least.
It's intriguing, and I think it's important to remember, too, that is a big bit that's hard to prove. If 3 went in and 2 left. Dog the Bounty Hunter had been saying that. That came from the tipster. Until we have evidence that's either in video or pictures showing that 2 drivers or 2 passengers were in the vehicle, one could have been in the back of the camper. So there's so many things that could prove that false. But in terms of what he brought out earlier is license plate records, reservations made by the family, video. Any of that stuff we can prove. We can try to prove, and we should be trying to prove that right now. So if we can get any access to that video to show, hey, there they are. Here's the campground they stayed in. There's 2 different campgrounds that specifically the tipster said they stayed in. That is stuff we can actually report and move forward with. Say, hey, this is a major part of the timeline now. 2 separate occasions in the beginning of September. This family went camping, and why is the bigger question.
We got some questions and comments coming in here. Again, JB Buno here with you live on WFLA Now, engaging a new digital audience. We always have to repeat this for our digital audience because people come and they go. It's a big revolving door. I think of like a building in Times Square with a big, massive revolving door, like a department store. People come in, people leave. That's just what we do here on WFLA Now. So if you've joined us in the last several minutes, hello. Josh Benson, Masa Saidi, JB Buno here with you live. You can use hashtag HeyJosh, hashtag HeyMasa, hashtag HeyJB on YouTube or Twitter or on Facebook, and we'll bring in your comments and we'll animate them here on screen. And we've had some great ones come in here in the last several minutes here, and I want to give a shout out to one of the commenters here. This is a really intriguing question, and I spoke about this last night with my wife because let me just bring up the comment here. It's from Brandy Riley. Cute cat in Brandy's profile picture there. Hashtag HAB. Does dog, from cat to dog, does dog have less red tape to jump through to investigate because he isn't law enforcement? Is there less because he's not listen, this is a guy who does reality TV, right? And who does television shows. Right. So does he have less red tape? But he also does. You could say he doesn't have as much red tape, but at the same time, you could say he doesn't have the immense resources that the FBI has,
and a lot less power. I mean, he's like you and I. I mean, he can't go down to the Carlton Reserve, as far as I know, and start searching for Brian Laundrie. That's closed off to the public, and I don't know unless there's an exception made with law enforcement to offer up his resources and come up with a deal that would allow him to help them. But we haven't heard of that. He's going to be out on his own and digging into his own. What he does have, that you and I don't have, or Masa has at this point. Well, actually, we do. We have a news station here that can bring in tips, but he has a well-built machine that is available for tips for people to call in. And I brought this point up yesterday. It's an effective maneuver because you take a system like Crime Stoppers, or you take a nonprofit that runs a missing person case that has a team, for instance. They can accept anonymous tips, and there's a lot of people out there who don't want to go to the police or the FBI. They may know something, but fear they're implicated, or fear there's a problem, or fear it could be tied back to them. And some people just don't want to be bothered. They may know something and say, I don't want to get involved. That was kind of the mentality in Minnesota where I grew up. It's like, I see it, but I don't really want to be a part of it because, I don't want to shake any feather. You know what I mean? No, so that's an outlet for them to say, here you go, here's the tip I have. Now you take it and run with it.
So there are people out there, and Masa, I want to get your perspective on this too, but so what you're saying, Josh, is that there are people out there that might have had some interesting information that have just been kind of timid as far as getting involved, and then all of a sudden Dog the Bounty Hunter is on the case, and it's like, oh, right, now I'm going to come forward with that information. I'll call Dog the Bounty Hunter. I trust him. Is that kind of what you're getting at there?
Absolutely. And then they can just get it to him, and what Dog the Bounty Hunter will do is then turn it over to law enforcement, just like he did yesterday when I was in touch with the team. They said, we're sitting by, we're at Fort DeSoto, we have this tipster, we have the information, now we're waiting for law enforcement to show up. And eventually one single deputy from the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office showed up, and it was dark, and they just decided that's it for the night, we'll pick this up tomorrow. And as you can see, nothing is happening out there today, but we are seeing reports that Dog brought up that seem to appear valid in that the records are indicating, and we haven't proven this independently, but records are indicating Roberta Laundrie was there on at least one occasion.
And I was on a call this morning about this case, and there was an FBI agent, a retired FBI agent, who brought up exactly the point that Josh brought up, that a lot of times people are much more comfortable giving a tip to America's Most Wanted or Dog the Bounty Hunter because no one wants to be a federal witness. But if I could also weigh in, law enforcement here definitely has more red tape than Dog the Bounty Hunter, because you got to remember the ultimate goal here is to have a case that is legal, to have a case that is solid. If you don't go about obtaining evidence in a legal way, if you don't get a search warrant, eventually whatever evidence you get, you can't use in the case. That's going to be thrown out. So
Right, good point.
Yeah, so they have to follow the law. So it doesn't, it might be easier for Dog the Bounty Hunter, for example, than law enforcement.
And he's not the one prosecuting the case in the end anyway. So.
Exactly.
Here's a great comment. I love our WFLA Now commenters. They're phenomenal, and we really, all of us, from Josh and Masa and Justin and myself, we just really thank you for asking these questions and making these comments and these observations. It helps us carry the conversation forward here. Brandy, thank you for your great comment. We're going to bring up this one here, but Kimberly makes a great point. Kimberly Hogan, #HeyJB, #HeyJosh. People, if they are in legal trouble themselves, are more inclined to talk to Dog than to law enforcement. So if you are somebody that doesn't want to necessarily
Are you assuming the tipsters are criminals?
but you know what though? There are people out there, Masa, that have.
Put that into perspective. I mean, let's say there's a big network of crime, right? And let's say they're trying to find the crime boss. Okay, maybe there's somebody on the outside who has some information.
Yep, I know where you're going with this.
To the police, they're going to get questioned. Oh, boom, you have a warrant for your arrest, or boom, you were part of this. You're going to jail too, buddy. But if this person really wants the crime boss to go down, he could float a tip over to a guy like Dog the Bounty Hunter that could make its way through, and then you're protected in so many forms.
Hey, listen, Masa, criminals can help too. I mean, they can, and you might be wanted for a very, very minor misdemeanor charge and just not want to be on the radar of law enforcement, and you'd feel more comfortable. Does anybody care at this point whether or not the information comes to somebody who might be wanted for a misdemeanor or something like that versus somebody who's an outstanding citizen who called 1-800-CALL-FBI? I'm asking this openly to our audience here. Does it matter to you whether that massive tip that could lead to Brian Laundrie's whereabouts comes from a call that goes into Dog the Bounty Hunter, a call that goes into John Walsh, or a call that goes into the FBI? Does it really matter to you all? I mean, we're all on the same team here, right? I mean, so I'll ask that to our commenters here, but it's an interesting conversation here, an interesting point here from Kimberly. A great Masa. Let's come right back to you and your experience as of course as an attorney. Dan Pat here, #HeyMasa. Can't they bring in Brian's parents in front of a grand jury to make them speak or to hold them in contempt?
They can subpoena to have Brian's parents appear, but then the parents can exercise their right to silence once they arrive.
So they don't have to speak.
No.
Right.
You have a right to not self-incriminate.
And do you think that that's why perhaps they haven't brought in Brian Laundrie's parents, because they believe they're just going to invoke their constitutional right to remain silent?
No, I think that right now they're slowly working the case, and a lot of times when you have a suspect, it's someone that is, a criminal. They have drug issues. They might have done a break-in in the past, but with Brian Laundrie, they didn't have that. So the FBI, they took their time. They looked at all the records, and then they found out, oh, we can get him on this. He was using this Capital One bank card, and we can get him on this. So I think they're just slowly putting their case together. So I think that's why. I don't think they're not moving forward because they think that the parents are going to exercise their right to remain silent.
Josh, check out this comment here from Tammy Calvert, #HeyJB. Dog has connections. I believe he's doing this out of the kindness of his heart. What do you make of that?
Well, first of all, and what I've learned about Dog in the last 24 hours is
you've been in touch with his team.
I'm talking to his wife actually too right now. Is that he seems to be a pretty genuine guy. He's got this rough and gruff demeanor to him, but even the team themselves say he's a teddy bear. He wants the best for these families. And I look at it at perspective is like, what's your track record look like? Sure, he's got a show, and sure he's flashy and he does a lot of things and he shows up at scenes, but does he help families? That's what I come back to that. And he has a pretty decent record on helping cases move along. Has it been a part of a show? Sure. And has it helped cases, though? I think it has. And even the family today, you heard in the news conference, that question was asked of Joseph Petito and the rest of the family today for Gabby's news conference. What do you think of John Walsh and people like Dog the Bounty Hunter? He's like, we can use the help from everybody. Even the attorney said that. We can use the help from anybody. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. It's exposure, and it's ultimately we want to find justice, and that family deserves it.
Just reported to the FBI, the attorney said.
Sure.
A lot of comments. When I asked the comment here, or question a moment ago, I asked our audience here, does it matter to you where this tip comes from? If it's the tip, the one we've been waiting for, does it matter that that call is made to Dog the Bounty Hunter, John Walsh, the FBI, or Northport Police? Does it matter? And as you would imagine, Carrie Snyder here, #KJB. It doesn't matter as long as Brian is found and that there is justice for Gabby. Thank you, Carrie, for your comment. Tammy Forston, #KJB. I don't care, and throws up I like to do this. This is the shrug, kind of hands up emoji, where the tip comes from as long as they get him. Ryan Hoke, #KJB, #KJosh. We just want this case solved and justice for Gabby. And one more here, Jamie Lynn Diaz here, #KJB. I don't think it matters who calls. It matters that he is brought, and I believe what she meant, brought in. So I think we all agree, right? I mean, we're all on the same team here, Josh, Massa. I mean, Dog the Bounty Hunter clearly, generating a lot of interest online, and there have been people that have watched this show for many, many years and have confidence in him that if, as the saying goes, if he's on the scent, that there's going to be momentum towards justice. And that's, I said this yesterday, people asking me, I've gotten countless messages to my WFLA JB Instagram, to my WFLA JB Facebook. Josh, I'm sure it's been the same for you. What do you think of Dog being on the case? And I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again. Welcome to the case. I say to Dog the Bounty Hunter, thank you. And anything that you can do to help, I would just ask, of course, and he knows this. He's not going to listen to me. He's just going to listen to, of course, the principle here of the situation, and that just anything that you uncover, share with the authorities so that they can pursue it with all the means and resources that they have available to them. So that's what I would say here. Again, Josh Benson, Masa Saidi, JB Buno here with you live on WFLA Now. Use any of the hashtags here across your screen here. We can't go over the entire timeline here. That's more something for an article. But Susan Eagle, that's a great name for Eagle. We love Eagle. Eagle 8HD. #KJB, #KJosh. Can you go over the laundry timeline of when they say they saw him last compared to when they were at Fort DeSoto? So the dates now, Josh, are September 6th, 7th, 8th, as we understand it. That's really what
1st through the 3rd and 6th through the 8th. And I believe the 14th is in there. Did they report him missing on the 14th?
14th is when the family said they last saw him. They didn't report him until the 17th.
Days later, right. Yep.
So these dates now, they fall in line here, and this all adds up, right? Or does it add up in a way that we have learned something here tangible as far as this now addition to the timeline, Masa and Josh?
Sorry, I was just watching Justin Shecker. He's working on something, and he got something, so.
Oh, okay, so he's...
Good job, Justin.
Justin's working the phones. All right. Yeah, you got to hop...
Don't be making wild motions over there. Newsrooms are all open, so you can see everybody, and you can see what everybody's doing, so it's funny to watch.
We're right here in the newsroom.
Sorry to interrupt that. The timeline, one point I was going to make, too, is there's a lot of focus now on were they there at the campground, those two dates, the 1st through the 3rd and the 6th through the 8th. And people are like, well, what I find most interesting is right now we haven't confirmed the fact that they've been there both dates. But if they were, why would they have gone twice? A lot of people are talking about why would they go and then come back and then go again? Mm-hmm. That's super suspicious, in my opinion. But keep in mind, too, if Brian Laundrie came back and had a story for them and told his parents, well, yeah, we had a fight. She decided to stay out there. She's going to rent a car and drive home when she's ready, or something along those lines. That could have happened. That could have happened that they didn't know exactly what happened out there. We don't know that, obviously, but maybe that is a reason for them to be out at a campground. And now these are just talking through like what could have happened, and it's speculation. But a lot of people are wondering, well, why would they go there twice, or why would they go there at all?
Let's not forget the Guthries here.
Right.
So the Guthries, right? They say that the Guthries, when they spoke to Fox News in that interview on national television, and they said we saw them leave for a 3-day camping trip with the camper, and it was about a week to a week and a half after Brian returned home, and we know that Brian returned home with the van on September 1st, right? So is the 3 days here, as far as going to Fort DeSoto, match the 3 days from the camping trip from the Guthries?
Well, did they give a date? This is my point of view.
The Guthries never gave us a date.
They never gave a date. Okay, so if they said about a week, then it seems like they would have caught them on the second trip. But it was 6th to the 8th. It sounds like, because if they got back on the 1st, and the first trip was September 1st to September 3rd, it sounds like the neighbors across the street had seen them depart for that second alleged outing.
And that is Labor Day weekend. So now people, was the camping trip that the Guthries were talking about. And again, that's all based on hearsay from neighbors and their observations. That's not been confirmed by the authorities, but this is, again, neighbors giving some open testimony here as far as the Laundrie's whereabouts. They said it was a week to a week and a half after Brian Laundrie left. Brian Laundrie and his parents left for that 3-day camping trip. They said, and that would be, so Labor Day was Monday, September 6th, Josh, and they're saying now that it would be 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8 is when they were at that campground in Fort DeSoto. So that would be a Monday, a Tuesday, and a Wednesday, but the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of Labor Day weekend for what it's worth. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if those two, there's no way for us to say for certain whether or not they're connected. But the 3-day camping trip that the Guthries noted, and now we're learning about this 3 days now that they were, again, the mother checking in to Fort DeSoto, according to media reports here. There could be something. There could be something there. We can't say for certain that there's something there. That's not something that we can't connect those dots.
Right.
But those dots are there on the board now.
But the tipsters to Dogs Group said that it was 2 occasions, and they spotted him, and they visually saw them there, and they even marked off the campsites that they were at. So our job now is to prove that they were there. So we're working on getting confirmation that, Roberto Laundrie's name is on that 6th through the 8th reservation. I'd like to see the 1st through the 3rd as well. Once we can get those both proven on log records, that's going to be a big part of this timeline, in my opinion, because it puts them there, and it's something we haven't heard before.
I want to see, can we bring, hey, Justin, anything that we can report from this phone call that you just made, or... Hold on, this is welcome to an active newsroom in 2021, folks, where we can.
Okay.
Records request.
So I can tell you about this Fort DeSoto campground. They have 236 campsites, site 1 to 85. That's if you have a van or a tent. And according to Dog the Bounty Hunter, the family had stayed at site number 1 and site number 15. It costs about $40 a night to check in there. And as Josh said, there would be a record of that. And that's what we're working to independently confirm right now. And I can swap out with Justin whenever he's ready.
Okay.
Interview coming up.
Justin's working on a couple of items there. And Justin, when you're ready to come in and join, you absolutely can. Masa Saidi here with us. Of course, you'll see her tonight on W.
Hi, guys.
Take care of your voice.
Yeah, take care of that voice.
I like this. It's raspy. It's better than my usual annoying.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Okay, what's that now, Justin? All right, we're going to bring Justin back in here, folks.
This is what, hopefully we're right. Did you get the records of...
That's what I'm opening right now as I sit down. Jimmy,
It's a big game of musical chairs here, so now we're all just kind of swapping.
JB, I'm just pulling down to find it. Is my mic hot? Am I here?
Your mic is hot. Your camera is about to be on here in just a second.
Give me 1 second until I find the exact.
You lost the email. Just kidding.
No, I have the email. I'm just scrolling through. We did just receive the records request, so I'm just trying to confirm.
And let's blur out the other names before we start. I've seen other networks and other media outlets plaster the whole list out there.
Hold on, I got to look up. I'm looking for the name.
All right, Justin, why don't we do this? Join us in. Keep your mic open.
Yeah. As soon as I have it, I'll let you know, guys.
All right. JB, Josh here with you live. Let's continue to take some more questions and comments. And Justin combing through some new documents that are just coming in.
16 pages. I'm just trying to find the name we're all looking for.
That's a longer issue. I've gone through documents that are 1,600 pages long. I'm sure Josh has
fun
as well. That's not a fun day in the newsroom, but
that's a full day in the newsroom.
That's a full. Yeah, long.
Okay. So let's talk about the fact that the searches
Here,
are...
guys, I got it.
Never mind.
According to the Pinellas County records request for Fort DeSoto Camp Park, we can now report that Roberta Laundrie checked into Site 001 Waterfront on September 6, 2021, and she checked out September 8th, 2021. I want to be clear, Roberta Laundrie is the only name listed on this.
Mm-hmm.
We do not know who she was with, whether that includes Brian or Chris, but we can now confirm, following up on the first report from Dog the Bounty Hunter that Josh has been reporting on, that Fort DeSoto Park had a visitor by the name of Roberta Laundrie on September 6th to September 8th, gentlemen.
All
So
right. Thanks for
thank you to
confirming that.
Pinellas County for expediting our records request.
Let me ask you a question. Would that list now the other time frame? Does that go back to September 1st?
It goes back to September 1st.
Can you see if her name is on there then?
I'm scrolling back, gentlemen.
Because I've seen her there 6th through the 8th from other media outlets. We haven't seen her there the 1st through the 3rd.
Let's go back. I gotta go through all the names here.
I got something for you guys too here in a moment.
And that's what we've been talking about, how suspicious that is if you go twice. If you go 3 days, come home, go 3 days again.
So
have you ever gone on a vacation and then come home and then say, oh man, I loved it so much, I'm going back right now? I think that's pretty interesting.
I'm scrolling through the first, guys. I don't see.
So check this out, you guys.
Laundrie.
It's kind of.
Yeah,
hold
I've
on.
seen that too.
This is from Pinellas County's website.
That's the map.
This is the map now of the campground.
So Site 1 is where they're
right there in the middle of the screen.
Waterfront.
On the top peninsula piece, Site 1 is right there.
Waterfront 001.
Can you put your cursor there or no?
Can I? No. Can I? No, I can't.
Can you just zoom into the middle of the page?
I think I can. Hold on a second. I might be able. Well,
While
it'll
we're
take a
waiting this,
moment.
guys, I've also reached out to Stephen Bertolino. Just to comment on this, there is a statement floating around. We're trying to verify his reaction to these reports. But again, big thank you to the public information specialist for Pinellas County to confirm that. And
there's number 1. There's campground.
Hold on, going even more. Okay, right there.
And scoot over to 15 too. You can just drag it over.
15. Okay, so there's
you
one.
There you go. The 2 spots in question.
And 15.
Yep. Right along the water.
Some multitasking there. Okay.
It's one of the most beautiful parks in our area. I mean,
it's gorgeous.
Have you guys been down? It is.
Yeah, and you've seen the video and the pictures
Eagle
from
Eye,
Paul today too. Really good stuff.
So that are the one more time, Josh. Let's explain to people what we're looking at here. This is now, and I want to make sure we attribute properly. This is from the Pinellas County Park and Conservation Resources website, and this is super zoomed in here on a medium resolution image here. But this is a map showing all the different plots, all the different spots, the numbered campsites here. And there's 164 of them. And the ones that we're talking about are, let me make sure I have this right, 001 and 015.
Does it say in that the campground?
It said Site 001 Waterfront.
Okay.
001 Waterfront.
Was that 6th
September 6th through the 8th, and the only name next to it is Roberta Laundrie. And I'm trying to find where it was in the document, guys, because I scrolled through it.
Good job.
Team effort here, guys. Okay, where did I...
Area. It's located in. Now I can read this out. It's located in area number 1. Tent. It's only 4 tents, vans, and pop-ups. No pets allowed. And it's for campsites 1 through 85 here. And this is the waterfront site here. Site number 1 and site number 15 here.
So I'm gonna, unlike others, I'm only gonna tweet out. Well, I'm gonna try to blur out the other names, guys, because like Josh said, we should protect the privacy.
Yeah, I can't understate how important that is. Let's block out any names before we publish any documents or show it on screen here. This is the image in the center of your screen here, folks, is a publicly available Parks and Recreation because of the show, but a park and conservation resources map available on pinellascounty.org/parks.
You trying to blur it?
Yeah.
You want to take it over to Photoshop and we can do it?
Here, I'm going to step away just to try to be able to share some viewers. I'm going to
let's take some more questions.
Yeah, triple A questions. Go
okay. So, and also here, Josh, one of the things that we can talk about here is just where this is. People in the Tampa Bay area know where Fort DeSoto is. People outside of Florida and people joining us around the world, they might not know where Fort DeSoto is, but Fort DeSoto is in a pretty unique spot in the Tampa Bay area in that it's southwest Pinellas County there. It is waterfront. It's right there on the water. It's pretty much a very small like sliver of land there that is kind of a barrier sort of locale for the Tampa Bay itself. So it's southern Pinellas County, and it really isn't all that far away from Northport, Florida. In fact, I'll do a Google search here.
I was just doing the same thing, trying to see the difference directions-wise.
Fort DeSoto campground to Northport.
It's got to be what?
2
hours?
No, can't be that long, is it?
Well, it's 35, 40 minutes from here, isn't it? And then an hour and a half to Northport.
We'll split the difference. I was going to say an hour. You were going to say 2 hours.
I was going to say 1 hour, 53 minutes.
1 hour, 15 minutes from Northport, Florida to Fort DeSoto campground here.
I'm terrible at directions. Don't listen to me.
I thank my father for being really good with directions.
My wife for being a navigator when I'm driving to turn here.
My dad made me study maps as a kid. He did. He like put maps in front of me.
Cryptographer over here.
Yeah, he did. So, but that's one of the very few things I'm actually good at. But yeah, an hour and 15 minutes away from Northport to Fort DeSoto campground there in southern Pinellas County, and yeah, that's the entryway to Tampa Bay. And so this is now an interesting development. We now can confirm that over those dates that they were or we have it the mother checking in, and we're going to make sure that we have this all buttoned up here. But there was a check-in at Fort DeSoto campground on 2 lots now. Now, let's explain what we know about lot 1 and lot 15, Josh. Okay. They were now on separate occasions, or
yes, that's what we're told from the tipster. I mean, that's all we know at this point. We're waiting on the September 1st through the 3rd proof, though. I think that's what Justin was looking through, because we only have the 6th through the 8th right now. That's all we can confirm as fact.
Yeah, and we
so we have to wait to see if we can find the other dates.
And let's just give credit. Hold on. We got to give credit to where credit is due here for a moment. Are we having this conversation here today? If it's not for Dog the Bounty Hunter on this, let's be.
No, and that's why we brought it up yesterday.
Yep.
Look, we wouldn't have known about this. I was talking to their team yesterday, and they said they were early in the morning. They were like, we're on a major tip, and Dog is in the woods. That's what they told me. I'm like, the woods? I'm like, the Carlton Reserve? No, this is a separate location. I tweeted out some of the information earlier, and they didn't get it to me right away, but eventually they told me enough to say that here's the location, but they wanted to hold off because they were trying to get authorities out there. And of course, I didn't want to report the location because we didn't want to have everybody descend on Fort DeSoto without having any kind of indication there was a sighting or there was any evidence there. Now,
the circus that is the Bryan Laundry House, the media zoo that is there would of course be right there in Fort DeSoto.
And matter of fact, Brian Enton was out at the campground and he was talking to people just driving around looking. They were just just driving the parking lots, like looking, and there was no law enforcement presence out there at all. But
so random Joes and Janes just searching
our feed and watching, social media, knew that the location was that. Everybody wanted to be a part of it and kind of went out there, kind of bottleneck, just checking out the scene.
Wow. Yeah, interesting developments here, folks. As far as now, what we're confirming here as far as the trips.
And here's the thing. Let's go back to this tip. Obviously, it's just a tip. And does the FBI know about it? Perhaps. Maybe this is old news to them. Maybe they've already heard that, yeah, we knew they were there, but it's not assisting in the investigation anymore. That was just a piece of time, and that was a place they stopped, and we checked it out, and there was nothing there. That could be the case with the FBI. They're not going to tell us that. We've already reached out, and they're not commenting or confirming or denying that it was searched or they were there. What it does tell us, though, is it gives us some ideas of the fact that can we place them there with video, with license plates, with reservation logs? So far we can. From the 6th through the 8th, according to Pinellas County, Roberta Laundry was there and made a reservation.
I want to show folks the area where you would normally check in. one of the areas where you would check into the fort. So this was noted by our own Paul Lamison, and when he did the flight over Eagle 8 and Eagle 8 HD here. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to scroll forward to that moment. Here it is, right there, Josh. You see it? So Sun Pass.
Yes, and he brought that up. That was a good point by Paul. You have to go through a toll if you want to get there. So there's cameras on every car that goes through there, and there's a record of any car passing through there with a pass or else paying a toll, or else pay by plate. If you don't have a Sun Pass and you go through there, you're going to get a little bill in the mail, and you're going to have to pay it.
Yep, that's how it works in Florida. And if your transponder runs out of battery, you're getting a message in the mail.
You still have the battery?
What?
You have the battery one?
No. Well,
I have the sticker one. That's just got the RFID chip in it.
I've got the
and it's all flaked around the side because I've pulled it off and put it on too many times.
I got the transponder.
Oh, you're an OG right there.
Rookie mistake.
Wow.
Rookie mistake. I should have gotten the decal. But yes, that's how it works here, folks, in Florida. And with Sun Pass, and it's not all that dissimilar from other states in the country with things like Easy Pass and other and other modes of paying tolls here, technological means of paying tolls here. So this is now this exact spot is a big deal now, right? Because is there evidence that the Laundrie family went through this spot here, and if so, what vehicle were they in? Were they towing the camper? Was it the Ford Mustang? What vehicle could have possibly gone through here again to the campsite, provided that in fact they had feet on the ground, or they were here at the Fort DeSoto campground here in Pinellas County?
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sidetracked for a second. I'm listening with one ear.
Well, this is what happens as far as active investigations.
Yeah, and point I want to make is a good reporter or investigator or a station, and I'm sure we're working on this, is trying to get the records, the traffic video. I don't know if we can FOIA request that or how we can get that, but get the video of the vehicle that they drove to get to the campsite, and let's see if we can place them there. Let's see if they have the camper. Let's see if they have the pickup truck. Does the wife have a vehicle of her own? A Toyota?
I've only ever seen I've only ever seen the pickup truck, the camper, and the Mustang. Yeah. Those are the three. So is there another vehicle at play here?
The tipster said car, so that's all I know from Dog's team. But that could mean a truck.
Here's what I want to know, Josh, is lots 1 and 15. Mm-hmm. Now we have not only do we have a locale here that is of potential interest here to the Brian Laundrie manhunt efforts, but we have specific lots here, specific campsites here. So Paul Lamison was just kind of, and I'll resume playing this video here for you folks, but Paul Lamison was just kind of doing an overview here of the area. But now that we have specific spots in the campground, I want to know if we have any intentions or plans to fly Eagle over the exact spots that we're talking about, and those spots being, again, right here in the center of your screen, lot number 1 and lot number 15, waterfront lots.
This is interesting.
What do you get?
Interesting statement from the attorney, from the Laundrie attorney to a reporter. I'll read it. We want to verify it ourselves. But this reporter put this out, saying the dog doesn't know what he's talking about. The Laundries had reservations at the campground for September 1 through 3. They canceled those reservations and did not go to the park during the weekend, although that dog says that they did. They did go to the campground September 6th and 7th as a family, and they all left together despite the claims of others. The following weekend, Chris, Roberta, and Brian went to other places on 2 different dates, and the FBI is aware of this. So Brian obviously returned home after camping, and what the dog is spewing is nothing but baloney. That is a major detail. And okay, so why isn't there a statement on this? Why is he sending a text to a reporter? And why isn't he clearing this up for everybody right out of the gate?
Okay, we have to verify.
Part of the confusion. We have to verify this, obviously. But this is part of the confusion of getting the facts out in the open for this family. And I'm not going to go any further on this until I can verify it myself. We need to talk to the attorney immediately about this so we can confirm it for ourselves. But if that's the case...
If this is in fact the word of Stephen Bertolino, the attorney,
he would be also proving that they were camping. He would be announcing that to everybody, and that hasn't been part of the timeline specifically yet.
Who goes camping after returning from a cross-country road trip?
Didn't you camp enough? You know, it's like
and you come back without your fiance, who is now the subject of a homicide investigation.
Hey, we gotta get
goes camping after that. And maybe, listen, I understand that could be a means for the family to have an isolated kind of area, and maybe that's a place that has maybe it has sentimental value to them. Maybe they just needed to get away. But who just goes camping after that? After what happened in Wyoming? I'm trying to see a scenario there. I'm always very honest with our viewers.
Bigger the question there is, this isn't a part of the timeline officially. Maybe it is to the FBI, but to everybody else who's following the case, if there was speculation or if there was this tip and there was this instance, Dog was right in the fact that they were there because they were there. And now if this attorney's statement is true, he's confirming that they were there. And then your question is, why were they there?
Yeah.
So, first of all, I want to get this. We got to get to the attorney and have him give us a fresh
verified.
statement.
Is the source of this quote credible?
Yeah. As far as I know, she's a reporter.
And to say that Dog the bounty hunter doesn't know what he's talking about. For that kind of a statement to be put out there,
it looks legit to me. We'll do it ourselves, but I'm just putting that out there because if that's part of the narrative, then this will be scrutinized.
Oh my!
Oh my!
Oh my!
No, you know what I mean. Though I think why not come out with an official statement about, even when the people talk to Fox about the neighbors, even when they talked, why not put it out then to say, yeah, they were camping? Like, there's just no information coming out from the family at all. And I get you're trying to preserve what you're saying because you don't want to incriminate anything, but now all of a sudden we're proving that you were there. And it looks suspicious every time we find a new detail that they could just come forward and say, yeah, we were there, like allegedly did to this reporter here and just told her.
I'm sitting here in a little bit of disbelief just because of the
twists and turns every day.
That statement to me is, you have the right to remain silent, and your attorney doesn't have to, respond to every new twist and turn in a particular story of this magnitude. Doesn't have to. Attorney can be like, sorry, we're not commenting at this time. How many times have we heard no comment? It's the most two popular words in all of journalism. No comment. We hear it all the time, and for our sakes, it's just way too much. But now we have this potential, and again, we have to verify it. Now, let's be very, very honest with our audience here. We have to verify. It's an unexpected response from Stephen Bertolino, the attorney of Brian Laundrie, and again, working in tandem here with Brian Laundrie's parents. So, folks, we're going to go into black here for about 10 seconds, resetting. JB Buno here with you back. And again, that was just a system reset here so that we can continue talking to you. This is an extended session here live on WFLA Now. And again, working to verify this response. And
thank you. Okay.
All right, Justin's
on the case.
Justin is.
Thank you, Justin.
Well, I was hoping that we could. Let's fall back to some of the hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh, because I'm trying to process this right now, and I can process it better when it's been verified. So let's just see if in fact that's something that we can kind of break down here.
We'll get it from him.
Let's see here. Let's take some more hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh comments and questions here, and the Facebook Live. I think
What's up with you over there?
This comment. What are you laughing at, Josh?
You're just so in disbelief.
I am in disbelief. But here's a comment.
Okay, so let's say that statement. There's no reason for it not to be from this reporter. Otherwise, that would be a problem. Let's say that's the statement, and Dog has it wrong in that they had original reservation to go the 1st through the 3rd. They canceled. Then they went back 6th through the 7th. Stayed there as a family. Came and went as a family. Okay, so that takes all the theories out of it, according to the attorney in this case.
But here's the comment here.
Your question is, why would you go camping after just getting home from what you've been doing across the country, which is camping?
If you were on a cross-country road trip with your fiancée, the woman that you were engaged to spend the rest of your life with, and then you come home from that trip, and you're without her, and you're driving her van, and you're doing it without her, and you drive home, and then the next thing on your to-do list is to go camping? Yeah. I'm trying to process it. But Bonnie here brings up exactly why I'm at a loss for words. And Bonnie, thank you for putting words into my mouth here, because I'm just tongue-tied right now.
What's everybody thinking out there?
Bonnie Hodge saying hashtag HeyJB, even the language used by the attorney doesn't sound like a statement a respected attorney would use.
Well, it wasn't an official statement. This was a text to a reporter. So it's going to be a lot looser in speak as it would be if it was an official statement. So
for this reporter's sake, I hope it was on the record. I hope it was an on-the-record text.
Oh, it is now. It's out on public. She posted it everywhere.
Yep. And there are times, of course, where in certain situations, very, very, very specific situations where you would exchange text messages with a with a person that is connected to a news story. And I'll give you the perfect example. I've been talking to Nicole Schmidt. I'm not just having a conversation with her about what she has experienced and how her world has been turned upside down. Every text message that she's ever sent me isn't going to be, on WFLA.com and click here to learn more about what, Gabby Petito's mom is texting JB Buno. That's just not what we do. I've been, in talks with Nicole Schmidt, and there have been texts that we have published at WFLA.com, but that is, I asked her very specifically multiple times, can I share this? Can I say this? Do I have permission to say this on, share this text message with you? And every time she's been very, very, just amazing. As far as saying, yes, you can. It's for my daughter, please. And so, I just, I'm very curious now, Josh, as to, this is a text message from, again, purported to be from Stephen Bertolino. That is an interesting sort of development here in this case.
This is a West Palm station, too.
West Palm Beach.
WPBF, I believe.
All right, Rachel Lynn here. Can we, and I'm asking you, Josh, can we, because I'm having an open conversation here. Rachel Lynn here in the Facebook Live comment section. Can you please repeat the alleged statement from the attorney so that we know what you're talking about?
Yes, okay, yeah. For people that are just joining in, we're getting this verified right now. Justin Schecker is on the story. So a reporter reached out to the attorney asking about the Fort DeSoto Park, and we just confirmed that Roberta Laundrie was there on the 6th and checked in. So that's a fact. So the question is to the attorney for the Laundries, comment on Dog the Bounty Hunter's tip. Per this statement, and we'll get the official one, but per this text message from the attorney to the reporter, which is now public on Twitter, The dog doesn't know what he's talking about. The Laundries had reservations at the campground for September 1st to 3rd. They canceled those reservations and did not go to that park during the weekend, although that dog says that they did. They did go to the campground September 6th and 7th as a family, and they all left together despite the claims of others. The following weekend, Chris, Roberta, and Brian went to other places on 2 different dates, and the FBI is aware of this. So Brian obviously returned home after camping, and what the dog is spewing is nothing but baloney.
Baloney.
So, interesting though, the following weekend, Chris, Roberta, and Brian went to other places on 2 different dates, and the FBI is aware of this. So they spent 3 different outings as a family after he returned home without his fiancée, and then he's gone. So where were one trip was to the campground, 2 other trips we don't know about, but the FBI knows, and that's where we're at. So let us get this verified with the attorney to make sure he's telling the same story.
That is again from a West Palm Beach television station reporter. We have to be very, very careful here as far as where information is coming from. That is not being reported right now by WFLA. It is, of course, we are just following up here on tweets from a rapidly evolving situation here. When we have that independently confirmed that these are the words of Stephen Bertolino, we'll of course publish it officially on WFLA.com. But that's just again a very, very curious statement.
And
here.
a follow-up to that through this station says, can you confirm Brian Laundrie was at home in Northport September 1st through Tuesday, 2 weeks ago, when he was reported missing? Did he ever leave the home to go camping between those dates? Attorney, I can confirm that Brian Laundrie was staying at home with his parents during those dates, and he went many places during that time, including several stores, some parks, and some campgrounds.
So that means to me, and that what that means to me is that that Brian was just kind of out and about doing whatever Brian Laundrie would do.
Yeah, sounds exactly what it was. Let's get back to some questions.
Let's get back to some questions, but let me just add this one more kind of point here, and we'll take more #KJB, #KJA comments.
So what this could be is that, yes, there was a tip, and yes, it was interesting, and Dog the Bounty Hunter went out there to check it out, and the authorities came. They didn't verify it as much as to say that's valued of a search. Like, it didn't call for a search. They knew about it. FBI knew about it. Attorney apparently is saying, yeah, they were there on one occasion. The first occasion they canceled. So now we're starting to get the details of, yes, absolutely something was there. They were there at one point, but is it an active search? No. They don't find it credible enough to be, hey, he's out there. It's just they were there, and that now fits into the timeline. I think that's an important piece to the puzzle, but it's something the FBI clearly isn't going after.
If it's true, Josh, it's just
It's another wrinkle in the case and makes you wonder, like, why would they do that?
I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of, and trying to put myself in this scenario. I leave on July 2nd from Long Island in New York. I leave for this van life fun cross-country road trip with the woman that I'm going to be spending the rest of my life with. Mm-hmm. I go and I make all these stops along the way, and then something happens. We don't know what that something is, but something happens in Wyoming, and it leads to...
Keep talking, I'll be right back.
Yep, and it leads to Brian Laundrie returning home suddenly and unexpectedly in Gabby Petito's van without Gabby Petito, the woman that he pledged to spend the rest of his life with. His companion, his travel companion for all that time. And then he comes back home based on, again, this unverified information through Stephen Bertolino, who again spoke to a reporter in West Palm Beach via text message. Again, that's reportedly comes back home and is going camping and going to stores. And I would be inconsolable if whether something tragic happened on the road or whether there was a massive fight that separated us. I don't know if I would be inconsolable. I'm just speaking for me here, and I'm speaking from the heart. And if it was me, I don't know if I could That sounds like normal behavior in a very abnormal situation. That's all I'm going to say on that, and we'll continue to take your hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh comments.
I have 5 more minutes too, so I can answer 1 or 2, and then I got to jump.
Let's go rapid fire here through the queue, and bring up some of the ones here that we might have missed, or some of the ones that are coming in right now. If you get your hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh questions and comments in right now, we'll get them up here on screen. Michael Barr, hashtag HeyJosh. Is there any investigations going back to the time when Brian and Gabby were supposed to be in the Wyoming Reserve? And of course, I would imagine that, well, the autopsy and the cause of death there, but he's asking about any investigation going back to the time specifically when Brian and Gabby, we're talking so much about, I get what Michael's asking here. What Michael is asking here, Josh,
are they looking for clues back when they were there?
Right, because there's been so much attention being paid to Brian's return here to Florida. What's going on as far as the investigation in Wyoming?
Yeah, not as far as I know. I don't think there's any searches or anything. I mean, they found the body and they're doing the autopsy. And now we learned from the news conference that the body will stay with the coroner. There was a memorial service, but they will keep the body as this investigation continues, obviously for evidence. And they need access. So that was a tough thing for the family to deal with, but they were respectful of that. And they said, she's safe there, which I found very powerful, because that would be tough not to be able to bury your daughter in that situation. But as far as any investigation outside of where they were, what they've been doing, I think it's more of a reactionary thing, like the restaurants they stopped at. There was claims and actually proof that they were stopping at these restaurants, and their 911 calls. So all that stuff that came in, they investigated. I don't think there's anything active that I know going on out there currently. It's all kind of focused in out here.
Let's get to some more questions and comments. We'll go rapid fire here, folks. And Josh, I might need some help answering some of these questions because I'm going to be just adding them to the queue here.
Yep.
Hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJosh, and we'll try to get to as many of these last ones here as we wrap up our stream here on WFLA now.
Yep.
Let's take this one here from Penny Matthews, and I could actually speak to this one. Hashtag HeyJB. So where are the FBI searching it now? Paul Lamison was in Eagle 8 HD and couldn't find any search efforts from the sky over Carlton Reserve here. So the FBI scaling their efforts back significantly at Carlton Reserve, near Venice, Florida, near Northport, Sarasota County, that rural, vast wilderness we've been talking about. We've had difficulty finding any active search efforts on the ground there. They could be going on, but Paul Lamison, who made an afternoon flight there to the Carlton Reserve, couldn't find any. Lori...
And also no search in the Fort DeSoto Park.
Right. No search right now in the
So there's no searches going on as far as we know right now.
At this time, yep. Lori Kernahan, hashtag HeyJB. How is it the Laundrie family made camping plans when Brian and Gabby were scheduled to return on September 1st? And it's not out of the realm of, there could have been a prior reservation, and it could have been a camping trip just for Chris and Roberta Laundrie. It doesn't necessarily mean that Brian was originally intended to be part of that trip in early September, right, Josh?
Yep, correct.
Okay, so let's... Samantha Ward here, hashtag HeyJB. Does the FBI have the authority to search those cabins for evidence or transfer DNA as far as the campsite here in Fort DeSoto? And I think the FBI, there's a lot under their purview now as to what they can do, Josh, right? I mean,
Sorry, Justin just put out his tweet about the record that we got in.
No worries, but does the FBI have the authority to search those cabins? I would imagine if they obtain a warrant.
Yes. Yeah, if they get the proper warrants, they can do that.
Justin Anthony, hashtag HeyJB. When will the autopsy be completed?
We get that question a lot, and that's tough to say. Toxicology takes a long time. The autopsy could take a long time, but they're not in any rush at this point because they're going to keep the body, so they're... We'll take the time on the autopsy, but it is part of the investigation, so they're going to want to be careful that they keep her where the body is and then use that when needed for the investigation.
Lori Lesney, hashtag HeyJB. Can't thy prove the reservations were canceled for the first and when they were canceled?
That's the next step. We heard from the attorney through this reporter that the first plans were canceled. So Dogg's information was correct. There were 2 different reservations made. One was canceled now all of a sudden. So more requests to Pinellas County to see, when were they canceled, and obviously not why, but when were they canceled would be a nice record to have.
Let's see. We're trying to get in one or two more. This is a question and comment that a lot of people have asked here. And maybe we'll just kind of end out on this one, and then we'll take one more here.
Okay.
But from Rebecca Taylor, #AJB, is it possible Dog may have let the lid off of something the FBI was trying to hold close to their vest?
It's a good question. This happens a lot, and this is why some people get frustrated with outside influence on a case, because sometimes there's perfectly good reason why the FBI or law enforcement wants to keep things quiet. We've dealt with this scenario in the other missing person case that I've worked on that I've talked about, is that when there's not a lot of evidence to work with, sometimes they'll have a certain lead that they just want to keep quiet. But inquiring minds, the media, the online sleuths, Dog the Bounty Hunter, John Walsh, these kind of people come out and they want to dig to get some answers because the FBI is not giving them answers. So in that process, like we just saw, we learned something new, a new nugget in the timeline, and that was that visit to Fort DeSoto. So this is now public. It's confirmed that she was there. Now the attorney, per this reporter, also states, yeah, they were there. We're not hiding anything. Now we're going to tell you that they were there. So this opens the door for all of us to see some new information. And is it information that was super sensitive to the FBI? We don't know, because they're not going to tell us, but it's out there now. So we're going to continue to find more information. But yeah, in certain circumstances, there are situations like that where law enforcement will want to keep something quiet, but a third party blows it open. Then they have to adjust to that.
I'm going to ask the #HeyJB, #HeyJosh, comment and question that is on everyone's mind given these recent developments. The biggest number one question with these new developments is it possible that Brian Laundrie is here? Is it possible that Brian Laundrie is at Fort DeSoto in Pinellas County? Is it possible that this was where he was and currently is, or was and then no longer is, as far as this FBI missing persons case and this FBI criminal-led investigation into the homicide of Gabby Petito?
I thought of that very question today, and what came to my mind is Andrew Cunanan, of all people. That was a situation, and if you guys know the story, the Gianni Versace murder in Miami. If you've learned about that case, Versace was murdered on his front steps, and Andrew Cunanan, it's a long, convoluted story, but in the end, they find him right near South Beach on a houseboat. I mean, he was hiding there the whole time. And so it's a very good question. Like, could he be? Absolutely. I think that's a definite possibility. It's called hiding in plain sight. And I think a lot of times in cases like this, you always think, oh, how far can they get? How far can they go?
Mexico, Canada.
I brought up that example when I was, in college and we were finding a missing person in the woods. I was a reserve deputy at the time. And I won't go through the whole story, but we were called in to search for somebody. And at the very end, after we searched all as far as we could go, we were calling the search off. We were walking back in, and I walked into the woods near the campsite, and she was 25 yards from the campfire,
right, yeah,
laying in the weeds or in the leaves, and she was fine, thank God. But right there, I mean, it's so easy to miss sometimes. I think everybody gets so focused on how far can we go out, when the whole time somebody's close by. So I definitely think that's a possibility. It's going to be hard for a fugitive or for a manhunt like this, but it's not off the chart,
8 on your sides. Josh Benson joining us here, everybody, on WFLA Now. Josh, we'll let you get back to it, and we'll see you on stream, at 4 o'clock, coming up here in less than an hour on WFLA News Channel 8, your NBC station here in Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm. Any updates, I put them on my Twitter, twitter.com/WFLA Josh. Give it a check out, and I'll post whatever I got for you there. Thanks, JB.
Thanks, Josh. The JB and JB stream here. Really appreciate Josh, Justin, our entire team here. We're going to be wrapping up here on WFLA Now. These are very interesting developments now, and I'm just grateful that there are developments. I'm just grateful that we are talking about something here today. But let's also come back to Gabby. Let's focus here on Gabby and Gabby's family. We originally went live here to tell you about Gabby Petito, the family creating the Gabby Petito Foundation. They are really trying to do good in this world. And let's keep things focused on them. I think that everybody now, with these new developments coming in, and Fort DeSoto here, you're looking at here on the right side of your screen, this is all now extremely intriguing. But we don't know if this is something that the FBI was on from the start, and whether or not this has already been fully explored, there's so much uncertainty here. What is certain is that Gabby Petito has touched so many lives around the world. Her memory continues to inspire us to be better. Gabby Petito's family, so supportive of the FBI, so supportive of members of the media, so supportive of all these social media influencers out there, is trying to bring a positive resolution here to this case, and to remember that this is all about Gabby. I've talked at great length about the beads, the bracelets and the beads and you can find more details about that on my WFLAJB Instagram account. This is a family that is grieving, but they have exuded such strength and grace as far as coming forward and speaking here today. And also, too, now we have something perhaps a little bit, perhaps momentum here, or at least what feels like momentum as far as the Justice for Gabby movement here. And believe me, while they are trying to not speak out of turn as far as Gabby Petito's family, they want justice for Gabby more than anyone. They want justice for Gabby, and they want the truth to come out, and they want the FBI to shine a light on the facts and the truth of this case here. So, folks, we have been streaming now for about 3 hours. I think more than 3 hours now. And we're going to be hopping off of, 2 hours and 20 minutes exactly. And we're going to be hopping off of our stream here because we're getting ready for, of course, our newscast on WFLA News Channel 8. If you're in the Tampa Bay area, find that remote control and tune into your NBC station, WFLA News Channel 8. We are live at 4 o'clock, your 4 o'clock news, then the 5 o'clock news, 6 o'clock news, and believe me, we're going to be breaking down these new developments and the latest with Brian Laundrie, but also just the heartfelt press conference here today by Gabby Petito's family. If you're not in the Tampa Bay area, the conversation does not end now. You can find me on my WFLAJB Facebook account and my Instagram account. Like Josh was mentioning here, we're working on this around the clock. So if you'd like more from this point forward, find me on my WFLAJB Facebook and Instagram accounts. I'll continue to, of course, share information that we can pass along to you. Will that statement by that reporter in West Palm Beach, will that statement be verified for all media to use and share? And can we authenticate that it was, in fact, Stephen Bertolino that used the word baloney in the statement as far as responding to Dog the Bounty Hunter, talking about the camping trip that is said to have been confirmed now to have occurred here at Fort DeSoto campground on the right side of your screen. These are all things now as far as where does this go forward. And that conversation continues at our next WFLA Now live stream, which will, of course, we'll be back here with you live if there's any major breaking developments here in the story. We're back here with you live across all platforms here very, very quickly. We can be live within minutes if something big happens in the manhunt for Brian Laundrie or in the story of Gabby Petito. We are waiting on those autopsy results. We are waiting for there to be traction here in the manhunt for Brian Laundrie. If something occurs and it's big, we're back here live on WFLA Now with an update, and we can, of course, interact and engage with you, our audience here across our social media platforms here. But we're going to be taking a step away from the microphones here, and the conversation continues on our various social media pages. Josh was talking about Josh Benson's Twitter accounts and Instagram pages. You can, of course, follow me at WFLAJB on Facebook, at WFLAJB on Instagram, and we'll be back live with you on WFLA Now for any significant developments here. And let's not forget, WFLA.com, the WFLA app, our article hub, all of the articles with all of the confirmed information, everything that we can report is on WFLA.com, the WFLA app, our award-winning team here working around the clock to provide you with the latest here on the Gabby Petito story and on the manhunt for Brian Laundrie here. So if you'd like to continue and read through some of the articles of the very latest here, we have some of the best here at WFLA News Channel 8 and with us on WFLA.com, and all of our articles here on the Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie stories, they live on WFLA.